And we're live. Tonight, we've got somebody very special yet once again, everybody. This is Hollywood, and he's going to be the voice in the sky. I'm also going to be the voice in the sky. And unlike the last stream, which was a static image the whole time, I'm going to try to keep up with Hollywood via this Google that's in front of us.
This ought to
Um,
be epic.
it should be. Uh, my guest this evening, in case you haven't figured it out already, is Hollywood, and Hollywood was a broadcast engineer during the mid '70s. Is that correct?
A long time ago when they tried to put their voice into a spark.
Their voice into a spark. That
They
sounds like
yell it. They
forever
yell into
ago.
the spark, and it comes out the other end.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Let's um, let's kick this off and try to remember where we left off last time
Okay.
because I tried to squeeze it all into 1 hour, and that was absolutely just absurd. And I felt like I cut the whole thing short, and I've been thinking about it ever since.
Cool.
So uh, I think we've all settled down for the evening for such a thing. And the main thing I want to talk about to kick it off with you, Hollywood, was the engineering aspect of what you did during broadcast engineering.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I say that because I feel very ignorant to even ask the question because I have no idea about the first thing that comes first.
Well, that's actually a good thing because no, there is no dumb question. Okay, so the fact that if you did the same path that I did, then it would be difficult to come up with questions. But because you don't know, the audience also doesn't know, and so that's perfect. So when I say something interesting, I hope I do. Then, then it'll lead to more questions, and so that's all good.
The most complex piece of equipment that you encountered when you were first in the scene.
The transmitter, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, the transmitter because, uh, well, when I was first on the scene, I was out in Worcester, and I was doing a live sports talk show. I was engineering it. In other words, I was running the controls. Okay. There's no math involved. There's no soldering. There's none of that. But you're in the studio and you're producing the show and you've got your hand on the controls and you're flying the plane. Um, so, so that's a little bit daunting when you're 15 and a half or 16. Um, but when I got to meet the real engineer for that station, and one weekend he said, "We're going to go see the train. You want to see it? Okay, I'll take you." And that was interesting because it wasn't anything like what I thought it was going to be. Not even close. I figured it was, I'm a kid. I'm thinking it's a big stereo system. Um, you get into a dilapidated building, and then you take the freight elevator up to the fourth floor or whatever, and you walk down the hallway, and I mean, it's vacant. It's a vacant building. There's graffiti on the inside. It's a disaster area. And you open up a closet, and inside is the transmitter. And the transmitter, this was, I think, a 10 kilowatt station. So the transmitter stands, oh, I don't know, 8 feet tall, maybe 4 or 5 feet wide, and a bunch of meters on it, maybe 3 or 4 feet deep. So it's a big box, and you're looking at it and you go, okay, I got it. I see all the meters. What the heck do they mean? And where's the antenna? Oh, well, the antenna's on the roof of the building. Got to go 300 feet up. We're not going to climb that. And, you know, at the top are the dipoles, but I don't know that at this point. So that's the most daunting thing. And that was also the most interesting to me because I had always played with audio. In fact, I built my first mixer when I was about that age. I used to DJ dances. I did church dances and high school dances and that kind of thing. So that was old hat. I was already bored with that. I wanted to see the audio comes in here and it gets amplified and it gets spewed out, and for miles everybody hears it. How does that happen? And so that was the draw that got me into the RF side of it. And I don't know where I'm going with that, but that's
Class B, Ken Lewis asks.
Was it a Class B station? If it wasn't a B, it was a C. It probably a B, a 10 kilowatt, something like that. Yeah, this was an NPR like station. It was all volunteer, except for maybe the manager and the chief and like that. Maybe the chief was volunteer too. I don't know. It was low budget, but it was on the air. And when you're a kid, that's fantastic.
Let's see. And
I was not on the air there. I just
What were you-
ran this one show. I produced this one show.
was that the evening show or the late night show?
It was once a week on a Sunday.
Oh,
And it was-
Lord.
Yep. And the show was it was a sports call-in talk show. And it ran for an hour. And the title of the show was called Athlete's Ear. And so the host of the show would he'd be sitting in the adjacent studio on the other side of the glass at a table with one microphone. And half hour before showtime, he would say, "Hey, guess what? I've got 2 guests I'm going to interview. Set up mics for them and go for it." Okay. But while I'm doing that and checking levels and queuing people, because we have to take breaks, even though it's non-commercial, and you've got a PSA to roll and maybe a weather check or whatever. So
Let's see. Dell said he was on a demolition project of an old AM radio station years ago before he got his ticket.
Mhm.
He wished that he knew now what he didn't know then, of course.
Exactly. Right.
Probably the demolition would have occurred a lot slower if that were the case.
Oh, the dumpster diving we did.
Oh
Oh,
my God.
man. I had sidebar, I had some of the best days of my life going through the town dump. I used to ride my bicycle across town, uphill.
Both ways.
Uphill in the snow. And yeah. And here comes the front end loader. I'm like, no, I'm waving him off. No, don't smash that TV. I've got tubes. And I put him in the saddlebags and ride home, and I grabbed everything.
Carefully,
Oh yeah. What a fun time.
right?
And that was also part of getting into the engineering side. There were Radio Shacks on every corner. There were parts that, people were just throwing away. So you've got all of these available parts, and the magazines, 73 magazine, Popular Electronics, Popcom was another one. And they're all online now. And boy, do I enjoy reading them, because the wording, the writing is superior to what you get now. If you can even find a ham radio or a broadcasting related magazine, other than just, a trade journal rag, if you will, what goes on behind the scenes. It's really fantastic. So it was the right place, the right time. And luckily I had people around me that wanted to mentor and share. They saw me as a kid, and so I wasn't a threat to their job. Not yet. So, if you go in and you're 25 or 30, or you just got out of college and that's what you want to do, they're going to be, unless they're, a year away from retirement, they're not going to share all of the secret sauce with you. But if you're a kid, you've got doors open left and right.
The
Very
Allied
different.
Electronics catalog.
Yeah, MCM, all kinds of, yeah. a gazillion and one, catalogs. And then you go through the engineering department at the station, and there's more catalogs there. There's not articles about equipment, not ham radio stuff. But, anyway, I went down a rabbit hole. Where was I?
No, you're fine. We were talking about fascinating equipment that you worked with.
Yeah.
in
Okay.
location. Yeah.
Okay. So, the fascinating equipment, the easy stuff with the mics, the audio console, the reel-to-reels. Yes, we used a lot of reel-to-reels. This particular station, fascinating. When I went into the production studio, I looked and I said, "Oh my God, that's a Macintosh amplifier." And didn't I have to hear it? Um, you go in the record library and you get a nice rock and roll album and you put that on and you crank it up, and it sounds radically different than what you are used to at home, and certainly different than what you've heard on the radio, because on the radio it's all compressed. Now you're hearing it for the vinyl for what it is.
And real quick, since you've brought that up, I
Yep.
didn't ever hear this until you completely just ruined it for me and
Uh-oh.
told me you need to listen to this and then go listen to the radio. And I did. And
Yeah.
now my perspective of what comes over my vehicle stereo system on
Uh-huh.
FM has been completely changed
Yeah.
because you've pointed out what it is that I'm hearing and what it is that I'm not hearing anymore.
Bingo.
I
Bingo.
don't hear the percussion as it should be,
Right.
right?
Right.
The percussion's dull and raised and
Right.
almost always level with the vocals.
Right. Everything is squished. And I mean, we all know why. It's, people perceive loudness as powerful. You can have a 100-watt radio station that's got very good compression, compared to a 1,000-watt or a 10,000-watt with very little compression. And people don't hear how many watts. They hear how loud and clean the signal is. And so they gravitate towards that station that sounds louder than the other one, unless it's distorted, But if it's louder and it sounds, that's why in the 70s, radio stations sped up their records by about 10%. And that's to
Is that
get
right?
more, cuts in per hour. You can, if you,
10% is a lot.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Trying
But
to
if you,
keep the party going.
yeah, yeah. And there was a fine line between, how much can the audience handle. But on the other side of the coin, if you've never heard the record before and this is the rock station in town, you can't hear anything else. There is no internet. It's the 70s. And you have memorized it that way. When you hear that song, whatever it is, you've learned it on that higher pitch, that faster speed. So that to you is normal. You don't know any different. So the business model, the station's doing it to play more records. Therefore, they have another 2 or 3 minutes every hour that they can sell and, roll 2 spots on, or 430s, and they make more money. So, I mean, they've done this for years. They did it with Rush Limbaugh when he was alive. And you say, well, but that's talk. That's not records. No, they have a digital box that cuts up the slices every time he took a breath, and it stitched them together so that 55 or 60 minutes of monologue became 52 minutes. And you didn't hear it at home, but it actually did happen. And then you can sell more commercials over the network, over the bird, the satellite.
Just trying to squeeze that one extra one in there, right?
Yep. Or 2 or 3. Yeah.
Or 2 or 3.
Yep. Yep.
For the
Yep.
hour, sure, yeah.
Yep. So
go ahead.
So what I was going to say was, so they sped up the records, and you as a kid, 13, 14, you don't know any different. You go to the record store before the day the music died, and you get the 45 and you take it home, and it sounds horrid. Number one, it's off speed. It sounds very slow. It's the wrong pitch. Number two, it's not compressed. It doesn't have that nice, beautiful bass. It doesn't have that loud in your face audio that you have memorized.
It's all flat
It's
almost.
yeah, exactly. And that's what you want. That's your buzz. You want to hear the record. You want to own the record and have it sound like what you've heard, in the playground or as you're driving your bicycle and you got the little transistor radio on the handlebars. That's what you want. So this is before the days of earbuds, Bose, Sony Walkman, all of that. You had a little transistor radio. So to get that sound to pop out, they overly compress it. And that's what you've learned that song as. So then you take it home and it's completely radically different.
Dell says that he was a musician in his past life,
Mm-hmm.
and I still hear music on the radio where the BPM speed is up, and it
Yes.
drives him crazy.
Yes, absolutely. And there's the whole thing. So he would know also, being a musician, that it's not always 440, that you're tuning the orchestra to. Depends on the type of music. There are subtle differences, and I don't ask me. I don't have all of the details because I'm not a musician. I have enough to be dangerous, but I know that there's different standards that the orchestra is tuned to, and that drives a lot of people bananas too, that really know the piece, and they say, hey, that's off key. People with perfect pitch, it's a curse and a blessing at the same time. You hear one note on that piano or that instrument or that, what's the song I'm trying to think of, the Mamas and Papas, Monday, and they have a flute about 3/4 through the song, and the flute is sharp, and it drives me cuckoo. I hear it and I'm like, please, can we fix this? And that's long gone now.
Let's see if I can't. I don't know if you see this, Hollywood, but here's somebody's rendition of what happened to FM through the years.
That's FM, but it is also on a CD. The CDs have this is the loudness wars. So in broadcasting, AM or FM, we refer to it as the modulation wars. But in the recording industry, it's the same thing, and it's called the loudness wars. And this is a very good example visually. And it goes, I'm not sure I agree with the dates, but it doesn't matter.
No.
So 1991, the one in the middle, is what we strive for as broadcasters. 1999 is totally clipped and distorted, and I can't see anybody wanting to listen to that. I mean, AM in its heyday was never like that. In 1983, the top one would be like a classical station. Although I can see that is compressed. It's not wide open either.
You sent me some pure AM audio, and I had to sit down because the spatial awareness I got from just only 2 channels of this original audio took my breath away.
Yeah.
I could close my eyes and I could see somebody playing an instrument over there.
Right.
And I could hear the percussion from behind me, but just over here.
Right.
It gave it, there was so much room.
Yep. When you paint, in order to have light, you have to have dark on the canvas. If the whole canvas is just white, you're not going to see white. You have to have darkness there to make the white pop out of the canvas. You have to have, when you address the audience from the podium, you're doing a live speech or at church or whatever, right? A pause can be as loud as a shout.
That's interesting. You're right. Yeah, the suspense is breathtaking, right?
Yes, it can be as loud, as deafening as a shout. And the same is true for broadcast. You have to give the ears, there's a muscle around the eardrum. And when a loud sound comes along, you clap your hands right next to your ear, that muscle clamps down. And then you're not hearing the subtle nuances after that point until that muscle relaxes. It's like the iris in your eyeball, same thing. It tries to keep a happy medium so that the nerve endings all work properly. So if you overly compress it, you don't give the ears and the brain time to take a breath and digest what it heard. It's being force fed. It's like having a turbocharger on the car and it's just ramming it down the intake, right? You can't ever idle. So and the converse is true. If you don't compress a little bit, then it sounds wonderful, but you have to listen in a noise-free environment, and your car is not a noise-free environment. In fact, the kitchen radio, mama's listening to the soap opera while she's baking a cake. I mean, there's other noises. The phone may ring, whatever. There's birds chirping. There are other distractions. So you want a little bit of compression to get over that hump. But a little bit goes a long way. And that's the bottom line. Bob Orban, who creates the Optimod that everybody uses.
Oh yeah.
One of his very famous sayings in one of his white papers is, once you compress it you can compress it, but once you compress it to the point where it's starting, because compression is amplitude distortion. Okay, you are taking the loud passages and making them soft, and the soft passages and making them loud. You are amplitude slowly modulating the volume. That's the amplitude. You're changing it. And once you do it to an extreme, you can't undo it. So that's really mission critical. There's a happy medium there. It's like cooking with spice. If you a little bit accentuates the meal. If you open the thing up and it doesn't sprinkle out and it just dumps into the stuff, then it overpowers it and it ruins the dish.
Ken Lewis makes a good point. I want to throw his call sign out there. Whiskey 1 Kilo Alpha Lima says a lot of watts costs money, and you have to pay for those watts. And
Right.
I never thought about this before.
Right.
Right?
No, Ken is right. Absolutely. Hey, Ken. Yeah. No, absolutely correct. And especially where people forget this, that it's only recently that we've gone over to solid state. So prior to that, everything is vacuum tube, and that transmitter is consuming at least double what's coming out. So if you've got a 10 kilowatt transmitter, you're consuming over 20 kilowatts from the grid, and that's 24/7. It's a lot of juice. And if you're like WBCQ up in Monticello, Maine, one of their big transmitters is 500 kilowatts. It's 500,000 watts. It's unbelievable. And the tube on that, I forget, Alan told me once what it was, but it's in an astronaut just to heat the thing up. Forget about plate voltage, just
Right.
to run the
Operating
heaters. Yeah, exactly. It's some outrageous figure like 100 amps just to get the heater going.
Our friend Dell makes a great point. The song is in the key of G major, but you're
Right.
hearing it G sharp.
That's right. That's right. Exactly, Dell. You got it. Yep. But again, if you're not a musician, if you've never played that song, and you're a 12, 13, 14-year-old kid, you're listening to top 40 radio, that's how you've memorized it. It's now in the key of G sharp. You don't even know what that is, but that's normal to you because that's the only way you've ever heard that performance, that song.
The loudest voice is the biggest voice, especially in DX contesting.
Yeah,
Our
that's
friend Del
true, and
Farkas.
that's why That's why when you watch the videos of Bob Heil, and he was spot on correct, is that, muddy audio, you can be loud and bodacious, but if it's muddy and it doesn't have the articulation for the voice, it doesn't work. On the other hand, like, I watch the QRP net a lot on YouTube, and it's all about modulation. You can do a half a watt, but if you've got nice, clean, clear, crisp audio, then it cuts through and you pick it up on the other side.
Ken says that's why recording studios had a 5-inch program monitor speaker, so that the recording engineer wants to hear what the track sounds on the kitchen radio.
That's exactly right, Ken. Exactly right. And so, and the same is true in broadcast. We're lucky today. We didn't have this until maybe 20 years ago, but through the internet now, the box that does the compression, or boxes, are all connected through the internet. So you get it close, and then you go up on a hill in your car. You're away from the rest of the team. You can concentrate on what you're listening to, and you can compare it to other stations who are playing the same format. And so in your head what you want it to sound like to please your team, and you know what your stereo in the car sounds like. And now you've got a comparison, an A/B. So then you can tweak it remotely.
And a lot of the smart artists, what I found out, would record, and then they had small FM transmitters, and then they'd play back right there in the studio over FM, and then they all run out to their car and listen to it as to what it sounded like in the car.
Right.
Because that's
right.
all that mattered.
Right. You hit the nail on the head in the car thing. There is a video of Frank Foti. Frank Foti was the chief engineer. He's very well known in audio. I think he works for
FOTI?
Yeah, FOTI. I think he works for Omnia. He was the chief engineer for Z100 in Manhattan. And that station went from worst to first. And Frank is the guy behind the audio. He was the chief. And he designed a lot of the boxes that made that thing sound the way it does. Well, anyway, where I'm going with this is, in one of the videos that I watched, somebody interviewed him, and he made it a point, and he said, we had Carly Simon came in, because they would interview rock stars. And she took him aside, if I've got the story right, and said, Frank, I've got this record, but I want it to sound like it's on Z100. Can I borrow you for an hour or two and go into the recording studio and talk to the engineer running the console and explain to him? And he tried to get it across, and they couldn't, and they ended up grabbing the engineer and bringing him out to Carly's car. And she punched up Z100 and said, this is what I want it to sound like right here. And then the guy got it. And the rest is history.
Ooh, so that's what the Optimod looked like,
Yes,
huh?
yes.
Oh.
Yep, that's the older one, and the newer one is down below. Yep. And so the new one it's all DSP, and the one on the top is analog, all op amps and FETs.
Interesting.
Yeah. And there's, I personally like the older stuff. It was easier to do because there's no menu system, but unfortunately you can't do it remotely. So you have to know what you're listening for. And yeah, there's a really original Optimod FM. Very simple. I think they were 2 bands at that time. So what does that mean, Hollywood? Well, you have a box that is trying to make soft sounds loud and loud sounds soft. It's trying to keep an even keel, just like the suspension in your car. So you've got a spring pushing one direction against the weight of the vehicle, but now the vehicle is bouncing up and down. So you have to add something, a shock absorber, to slow it down. And there's a trade-off, one against the other. And if you get them right, then the car is smooth and yet it hugs the road. And that's what these boxes are doing, but with audio. So, okay, so now this is a single band, I think. Maybe it's a dual band, but okay, let's talk easy stuff. On your ham radio, you have a button called a processor. That's what is doing this. It's doing the same thing as these boxes, pretty much. But your ham radio it's an all-in-one. It's the processor in your ham radio is dealing with the sound of your microphone, not music, just your voice, because we can't broadcast music on ham radio. So it's seeing a very limited bandwidth, and therefore it has a pretty easy time doing its job. It can get it nice and loud and punchy, and it's very easy components to make. It's not complex at all. Now, once you start adding audio into it, if you do, that was called a single band. In other words, it's doing the whole from the low bass up to the upper treble. What happens is you'll have a drum percussion, and the box sees it and it drops the level on everything. So now you've lost the bass and you've lost the hi-hat. Everything's gone now until it recovers. It goes back to normal again. Or conversely, somebody hits a note on the bass that's a little bit louder than the mix. That brings down the mids and the highs. So what's the solution? Well, you make a box that has really 3 or maybe 4 compressors in the same housing. So one compressor does the lows, one does the upper, the lower mids, the upper bass, and then one does the presence where your voice is, and then the last one does the treble.
Is this how we get our smiley face?
Well, but but now that's equalizing.
Okay.
This is compression. It's 4 compressors, and they're split up depending on where what part of the band, the lows, the low mids, and the upper treble, and then the presence in the middle. And each one has to have a different attack and recovery. Attack being how fast does it clamp down, and recovery, how much does it release back to normal again. So each band is different. I mean, there's all kinds of complexities. I've really overly simplified it just to get the point across, to paint the picture. But in a piece of software that does the same thing as the Optimod, and I've been known to do this, I can spend 10 hours playing with it. It's so much fun for me. It drives a lot of people cuckoo because they look at it and they go, why are there all these controls here? I just want 3 or 4 controls. I want louder, loudest, and or softer, and that's it. Done. Walk away. But this is how you shape the audio. You're painting it.
WBCQ, does that ring a bell?
That's what I just talked about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. There's a lot of stations that you throw at me. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. BCQ. The engineer for BCQ often rag chews the full AM port. Yes, that's Timtron. WA1HLR. Yep.
You've even got his signature way that he says it.
Tim is well known in the AM window. I have met him, and I have talked to him a couple of times on the air. He's very colorful, and he talks about the old man, Maxim, in Newington, Connecticut. Tim has built or rebuilt or remodded I think it's a kilowatt AM real commercial transmitter that got donated to the ARRL, and then he converted it up to 75 meters, and I think he put 40 meters in it also.
That's some real ham stuff.
He knows his stuff. Oh yeah. Timtron. Yep.
Let's see if we can't see Timtron. TRON.
WA1HLR.
W1
I think it's WA1.
HLR.
Yep.
Timtron is one word.
Yep.
Ah.
Yep. That's Tim. Yep, you got it.
There he is. Oh, look at that. Oh my word. What a shack, and there's a glass of wine in the background.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
He's up in Maine, I believe, and I think it's at one point, I don't know if it's still true, but he was living in a school bus,
Yeah, that's
which he referred to. There's the transmitter. That's the ARRL. That's that picture you just had. There's the broadcast transmitter at Newington that he rebuilt. Yep. I'm pretty sure that's it.
Whoa. Let's not go there. Excellent.
Yeah, it's good stuff. The Puss Bus, as he refers to it.
The Puss.
Yeah. Timmy is chief engineer for a number of stations up in Maine and has been for decades. So, and the owner of BCQ is Alan Weiner, and Alan is also a broadcast engineer. And Alan's book, get his book and read it. It is fascinating.
Who? Tell me Alan's full name again.
Weiner, W-E-I.
That's right.
E-I-N-E-R.
Is that an A-N, Alan? Is that an E-N, Alan?
A-L-L-A-N, I think. Try it each way. I'm not positive. Nope. Or you can just type in WBCQ, you'll see him.
There he is.
Yeah, you got it. That's him. Yep.
There's the guy.
So Alan is a former pirate radio guy. So he and
I would have never guessed by this picture here.
Yeah.
I'm joking, of course.
No, I know. So my introduction to Alan, and I've never met him. I've talked to him on the phone. Is my introduction to Alan was I was in college at the time, and he had bought and rebuilt a trawler and sailed that out to just off of Long Island in international water, and then proceeded to broadcast like Radio Caroline. And that,
so this was not part of Radio Caroline.
No. Radio Caroline is in the UK.
Right. Wow, this was a whole nother.
Mm-hmm. This was the US version, right?
No kidding.
Yep. So this would have been 1982, somewhere in that ballpark.
The amount of money that must have cost to fund.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And he had shortwave, AM, and FM.
All on one.
All at the same time. Yep.
My word. The patience of this young lady.
She's an engineer also.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
They might have had things to talk about.
Yep.
Looks like she's been with them throughout the whole run.
Yes, that's Angela.
That's wonderful.
Yep. Yeah, they make a good team. Real good team. And Alan collects, I know we're getting off the beaten path here, but Alan collects Model Ts also. He's got a place in Florida. I'm not sure where. But he does he likes the old equipment that's very simple to work on and very faithful and reliable, and it's great stuff. Yep.
Yeah, he's got a lot of old equipment in that garage.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yep.
Look, he's got a fire extinguisher. Good on him.
Yep.
Excellent. Let's see. Our buddy Dell Fargus says you want the smiley face on your player receiver. When you record, however, you want a slight frowny face to keep the highs and lows from overdriving.
Yep. It depends on the medium. He's pretty much right. And a lot of people don't know this unless they're in the industry. When we had vinyl records, you've got a groove and the needle is riding in that groove. If you make if you record it at too high a level, then there's a chance that the needle will lose contact with the groove. It'll pop. It'll ride up just like a car going over a hill at high speed. It catches a little air. The suspension relaxes and it might lift, a couple inches off of the road. So anytime that happens, that's distortion. So you don't want that needle to pop out of not completely out of the groove to the next groove, but to lose contact with it. And one of the ways that they do that is they compress the audio going on the vinyl when you cut the record. And number two is they greatly reduce the lows and they boost the highs. So the high frequencies are much shorter wavelength. And the low frequencies is where all the energy is. And that's the low hill that's going to pop the needle up and out. Okay. So, and then when you play it back, you have to do the opposite. You have to cut the highs and boost the bass so that what comes out of the speaker is what you would expect. It's undone what's been put on the record, like she's come undone. So that's pre-emphasis and de-emphasis. And we do that in FM too. We do that in commercial broadcast. We boost the highs when we transmit. And when you play it back through your radio has a equalizer in it that's fixed, and it cuts the highs by a predetermined amount. And that's called de-emphasis. It's a cheap way of noise reduction. It's like one of the original Dolbys.
Oh, look at that. Ken almost beat you to the punchline there.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right. Yep.
This is why you've got Dolby for cassette tapes.
Yep. Exactly. So that would be akin to, or sort of like Dolby B. But there were many variations of Dolby. Many. There was the home consumer market, had 2 or 3 different types, and then there was the broadcast market, had another type, and then there was for the reel-to-reel market, and it got really messed up quickly, but it worked.
Kind of have to agree with Dell. If the receiver sounded like crap, you had to make sure that the Dolby was turned off.
Yep.
He said it always sounded like crap to him back in the day.
Well, a lot of that is a lot of it is due to alignment. That the equipment, if it's properly aligned, it does work.
Well, there's Dolby with and without music, and if you have Dolby without and you try to tell your home receiver, hey, there's some Dolby in here, try to pull it out, then it's all going to get shredded up in the air.
Yeah, it does. It makes it muddy.
Yeah.
Because when you play it back, it's muting the highs. I'm overly simplifying it to paint the picture, but it's just like turning the treble all the way down when you play it back. But when you feed it into the transmitter, you boost the treble all the way up. And that's certainly true on AM. We pre-emphasize on ham radio too. If you fed it flat into the transmitter, it would come out muddy on the other end. We chop off the very low bass and we equalize it so there's a little bit of a boost around 2 to 3 kilohertz or so, 3.5, and then you chop it off at 3.5, and there's nothing after that. And that goes back to the AT&T days. Fletcher Munson. That's a whole nother thing.
Talking to a broadcast engineer on ham radio, I bumped into a week or so ago, and I've normally always run my 7300 at about 30% mic gain, and I've never had anybody say anything about it, and so I thought I was right in the sweet spot. And then I had a gentleman ask me to turn up my mic gain from wherever it is. And I said, okay. So I went up, a little bit, and he said, oh, that sounds better. Keep going.
Yep.
Before I knew it, I think I was at 80% mic gain, maybe even 100%. And he goes, you want all of it. I want to hear all of it.
Right.
He's He's like, guess what? You don't have to hold that microphone so close to your mouth anymore. And now I have a broader view of what's going on over there. And I said, it sounds crazy.
That's why people that are on the air wear headphones, because we need to hear what we sound like. You can't hear what the microphone is picking up if you don't have headphones on. So it's the exact same thing what this guy was telling you on the air. So when I hear a ham station, and he's doing that and he's adjusting this and that, and Mike, I can give him my opinion, and I'm happy to do so. But I also try to teach him and say, go online while you're talking to me and I'm giving you my 2 cents worth. Go online and look at the waterfall on the online SDR, and you will see what I'm hearing. And even better is record, save a copy of the audio from the SDR and play it back and listen to it and critique it. Oh, I think I would like a little bit more of this. Okay, add a little bit more and do it again.
Dell says he runs 40 to 50%. And I think what he's saying is that he holds the microphone 180 degrees out.
Yeah.
He says he holds the mic hook up against his nose, which would tell me he's speaking into the back of the microphone.
Yeah. I don't think that's what he means, but you don't want to get right on top of it.
No.
But you also don't want to talk louder and be, so it's really, when I was teaching radio, and this was the same way it was taught to me, because a lot of kids had mic fright. What you do is you take a Nerf ball and you stick it over the microphone. So now it's a wind, sock, and you draw with a Sharpie a smiley face, and you tell the kid, this is your buddy Jimmy. Talk to Jim. Forget it's a microphone. Just look at it and talk to him. And they do. And they get over the mic fright. And then you say, okay, again, you don't need to get right on top of it. But what I told people is make a fist and put a fist between the microphone and your lips. And even better, don't talk directly. And now I've got a foam on my mic. I'll take that off. Okay, so Peter Piper picked a peck, and you can hear the distortion. You hear the distortion.
Oh
now,
my gosh!
I'm gonna put the same distance. I'm not going to move the distance between my lips and the mic, but I'm going to rotate 45 degrees. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. I'm 45 degrees. Now I'm 90 degrees to it. So you can hear there's a phase issue going on. Peter Piper picked a peck. Okay. So you want to talk into it, but a little bit off, maybe 30 to 45 degrees off of it. And that's the sweet spot. And it's a cone. So it's either 45 to the right, 45 to the left, 45 up, 45 down, doesn't matter. But that's pretty drastic. And there's the cover back on.
Let's see. Bradley says it's not a tube unless it has handles.
Yeah, that's correct. You got it. Yep.
Wow. That's pretty great.
And those are medium-sized tubes that you're showing there, that one. Yeah. They come bigger than that. There are ones that, like VOA, that you have to use it almost looks like an engine hoist to pull the tube up.
It says that this one lasted 75,000 hours, and for some reason to me that doesn't sound like a lot of time, because they're full duty 24/7.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. Think of a tube. You've got a heater at the bottom, so it's. I'm not going to get into the whole physics of it, but it's like a pot of water that's boiling, and the steam coming off of the water are the electrons, and they're being attracted to the plate, which is the top, which is where those handles are. That's the anode. And so if you think about all of those electrons over the life of the tube, and they're all hitting the plate, it's amazing when you think about how many of, and and at great speed because they're smacking that plate. They're hitting it head on, and they're creating heat. And you've got to dissipate that heat. Now that tube is air cooled, but some of them are vapor cooled. And the early ones were water cooled, and you had to use distilled water.
Or a
And you
pond.
had a pond outside. Yes, they had yeah, absolutely.
And they were
Dissipate that heat.
yeah,
Yep.
and they were not. Yeah, it's you had the clean side and you had the dirty side.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
And
and then
that's
all
really
the
good
glass,
stuff.
all the glass tube, right? Because you had to
Everything
be
has to be.
galvanically isolated.
Yep. It's all deionized water. Yep.
So I got out my
Distilled.
pencil and paper real quick. I did the math. So 75,000 hours comes out to about 8.5 years.
Uh-huh.
Seems like a pretty you don't owe me anything kind of lifestyle for one of these things, for the amount of abuse. And I think you and I were talking about a station that ran at, like, what was it, like not even 25% of the power for most of its life. I believe.
Oh,
I'm trying
that
to
was
remember.
that was I want to say WLS, the video that I sent you.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's what it was, right? Yeah, ran at a very modest amount of power.
Right. Well, it's like anything else. It's like having a V8 under the hood, and you're going down the highway at 60, and you're just 1,500
Sipping along.
RPM. Yeah, you're just
Sipping
cruising down the
along.
road.
Look at the prices of these things, Hollywood. Oh my God.
Well, they are now. They weren't like that before. In fact, a lot of the stuff was war surplus, that the hams got a hold of, and some of the broadcasters got. In fact, some of those tubes were used by surgeons for removing skin issues. They'd burn it off, so the tubes would still be good enough for ham, but the doctor would get rid of them, and we would all dumpster dive. And today, those same tubes are, a couple of grand each. They fit in the palm of your hand.
Dell's got a good question. Can they be rebuilt?
Yes, and they do. The
They
big
do.
tubes, absolutely. We said iMac is the name of number 2 and number 3. You can see the red lettering there. And so, yes, we would take the broadcast tubes, and you'd ship them out, and they would take them apart and rebuild them. And yep,
Made in USA.
mm-hmm.
Ham radio / broadcast. That, if that doesn't say it all.
Right. The one in the middle is exactly what I'm talking about. Right. That'll do 1,500 watts, the one tube. And that's the other thing that always interested me, is that they have one tube, a one piston in the engine doing all the work.
But it should be a push-pull, so shouldn't there be at least 2?
One would think. But no.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, there's obviously a reason, and some of it is economics, and some of it, hey, John, and some of it is ease of simplicity, because if you have 2, they have to be matched.
Right.
Not for the ham radio stuff, but for broadcast. Yeah, if you've got one tube pulling more than the other, you've got an imbalance, you've got harmonics, you've got issues. And the tubes can take a beating, but the transistors,
no,
they
go
can
pop.
They can start taking now, but they're, when I was in Boston, in 92, I was an engineer for WEEI, and EEI was like 1010 Winds in New York. It was all news. Yep. It's 850 now. It used to be 590. It was a completely different company, and it's sports talk radio now, but it was all news then.
Oop, here's one.
And it was on, yeah. And that actually looks like the newsroom at the Pru.
Open. Where is it? Not the
yeah. Zoom enhance on that one.
Oh, there's that. Let me see if I can't get to the actual page that's got the actual file. Oh boy, here we go.
Uh-oh.
Here's the lineup in the paper. Don't.
So while
back
you're
outta
looking at
here.
that, what I was going for was at EEI, you've got most radio stations have two transmitters. They have a main and an auxiliary, so that you can do maintenance on the second one when the other one is on the air, and you swap them back and forth. Okay, so in this situation, we had two transmitters. They were both tubed, but one was older than the other, and the older one was much more robust when it came to not a direct hit by lightning, but if there's lightning in the area. So we would always run on the newer model because it sounded better and it was newer, and we didn't want to risk going off of the air. But when the weather guy said, "Hey, you've got a squall that's approaching from Needham, and it'll be there in half an hour," yeah, we would all run and put the secondary. Yep, Prudential Insurance Company, you got it. We were on the 44th floor. Ken, is where the studio was. The transmitter is in Medford, Meffa, right across the river. So 2 sticks, highly directional, north-south. And so we would all swap, depending on who was on duty, whichever engineer was on duty at the time, we would swap to the auxiliary, which could then take not a direct hit, but an indirect hit. And you wouldn't even know. You'd hear a little pop on the air, but it wouldn't go off. It wouldn't go off, but the main transmitter would. The main transmitter would dump, and then you would have to reboot it. So you've got 20 or 30 seconds of dead air.
Oh my gosh,
that's no good. That's no good.
People are having heart attacks during that time.
Well, yeah, the sales team, yeah, not the people at home, but the owners and the sales team, yeah.
And I've experienced dead air before. I was listening to an FM station, and all of a sudden it was just full quieting.
Right.
And I go, and I was like, okay, so maybe let's wait. And then I'm driving, and I turned up my volume. I'm like,
yep,
it's there, but there's no audio.
Right. So it's a carrier with no modulation. Right.
Right. And I've got a friend who does a lot of FM transmitter work in the Tri-County around here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I immediately called him up, and he goes, "Oh, so you've heard?"
Yeah.
He said, "I'm in the truck. Trust me."
Yeah.
On my way.
So usually when that happens, it's they've lost the satellite feed, because a lot of the stations now are not local talent. They're simply a repeater system. They're taking the audio off of the bird and they're rebroadcasting it. So they've lost the satellite feed, or they've lost the STL, the studio to transmitter link, from, it's a microwave hop, usually 950 megs. So that happens a lot. So Ken, I'll tell you a story. So there was one time where we're listening, we're all in the engineering room. There were 2 or 3 engineers at the time, I being one of them, and that was on duty. And all of a sudden we hear pop, and off it goes, and we scramble and we put the aux on the air, and then we hear pop again, and the aux goes off.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We weren't trained
so
for
we go
this.
we go back to the main, and the main goes on for about a minute, and then pop, off it goes. Well, now we're okay. We've got to 2 guys hop in the van, drive across town, go inspect, see what the heck is going on. And it turned out we had to catch them in the act. When we went down to the transmitter site, you go out into the field between the 2 sticks, and each stick has a metal fence around it. And you look inside the fence where the bottom of the stick, and you see all these coat hangers. So, So we ended up catching the kids.
Were they throwing coat hangers at the transmitter or at the tower?
Yeah, at the bottom of the tower. Yeah, at the ball gaps. So we ended up
Effectively
putting
shorting the tower to ground for a flash.
yeah for a flash. Right. And yeah, and so the transmitter would see it as a high vis wire, and it would just shut off. It would save itself, and you'd have to you reboot it, you restart, you hit the plate button, and and out it comes back on again.
All right, I have
Um,
officially dropped the word "swir" in replace for Viswar.
yeah.
That's good.
So we ended up putting a black and white camera that we could remotely control with DTMF. You could call up the phone number and dial into the transmitter site, and the camera would up, down, left, right, zoom in, out, the whole thing. And then we had a PA speaker on the roof. And one night we see the flash at the bottom of tower number 2.
Yeah.
Hey, you in the blue shirt.
Oh, geez.
And they ran like cockroaches. It's the funniest thing.
That's pretty great.
Yep.
Dell makes a really deep point, and I'm not trying to dive into this, but he says hire those kids,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because they're interested.
Yes, I agree. To a point.
Sure.
The problem is they're on private property. They are trespassing, and ultimately, if they get juiced, guess who goes to court? Guess who
Ooh,
gets blamed?
well,
So even though you've got all these, we ended up putting actual, I call them landmines, but they weren't. They were pressure gauges that we had to bury around the transmitter, so that if you around this, out in the field. So if you walked on it, it would sound the alarm back at the crew, and we would be alerted that there's something out there.
and how many times did that occur? With
It
the pressure
happened. It
switches?
happened a few times. Yeah. They'd scale the fence. They're showing off, and I get it because I did the same. I understand.
Sure.
But there's that fine line between doing it and but then causing harm, or to the property or to the company, but also to yourself.
I think that kind of covers our problem solving section as well, unless there's something along those lines that you want to add.
I completely forgot about the sketch.
Oh, I have too. I screw the sketch, but I mean we just
Right.
dove right into the problem solving. It sounds like you guys got the problem solved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that one, yeah.
We can blast right past that one.
Yeah.
Um,
But when we used to feed the Boston Celtics radio network, we were the hub. So you're feeding 50 radio stations across the country, and the vast majority are picking it up off of the satellite feed. So the signal has to go from our studios down a fiber optic line to Staten Island. And there it is broadcast up to the satellite and picked up at all of the affiliates. Okay. The satellite feed, there was one night, and I have my notes on this. I still have I found them the other day. This is why it's on, it's vivid to me.
Yeah.
The Olympics were going on.
What year?
At the time. I don't recall exactly. I could get it from my notes, but the Olympic Games were going on, and the company IDB was who we leased the satellite through. And they had overbooked the transponder on the satellite. So they got the feed for the audio for the Olympics to a different group of affiliates, but they lost the Boston Celtics. Oopsie. Can you imagine the storm? I almost said it, but oh man, this was before the game started. So we're in pregame. We've got an endless loop, telling all of the affiliates, tune to transponder number blah 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 14 alpha, and if you have any issues, you can call our hotline and talk to the engineering department, and here's the sketch, and here's what's going to roll, and blah 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 blah. This is all pre-internet. There was no internet at the time.
Was it the 1970s? 1970
No,
Olympics?
it would have been early 90s.
Oh, okay.
So we ended up, myself and the producer for the Celtics network, we had to call all of these stations one at a time and put them on hold. So we'd give them our private number and they would call us and we would answer and say, hold on, you put them on hold. Now they can hear the audio. It's terrible because it's telephone quality. It is not broadcast quality, but it's better than nothing.
Sure.
And then the board op in New Mexico, whatever, who has called me, I've put them on hold. They have an audio feed. They can now either take the phone and shove it in front of the microphone if it's really low budget, or if they have a hybrid, they can push the button and place the call on the air. And again, it sounds terrible, but it's better than nothing. And that bought us about a half an hour of time. So in the meantime, while we're scrambling,
That's a lot of time.
oh, well, this is 1992 money, and it was $1,000 a minute times 50 radio stations.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. Yep. And you've got to do a report, in triplicate for everybody for the morning, so that the management can understand and then you've got to record everything on reel tape and cut it up and, make it, so that the legal team understands that it wasn't your fault. Oh boy.
Somebody had to be held to the fire.
Yep. And these are the things that, and they happen. These are recurrences. It's just one that happened to me. But it goes on, and it's stuff behind the scenes that most people are not privy to. They're not aware. They hear the game and that, it works and that's it.
Telling us about his improvised pressure switches back in the day.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have recordings because I'm a bit of a radio historian. I have a recording from Fenway Park from, I want to say it was the late 60s, and it was Curt Gowdy. And I don't own it, but I have a picture of the audio console that was used, and it was serial number, I think it was like 1 alpha. It was amazing.
Wow. What was the name of the console?
It was made by Western Electric. It's a one of a kind. I'll send you the picture.
Oh, you've got it right. Oh, yeah.
Or if I can share the screen, I can show you.
Oh, absolutely, you can share a screen.
Let me bring the picture up while we yak. But where I'm going with this is that I have the recording, and maybe I can even play a snippet of it. I don't know. The quality is CD quality. You would not believe how good it sounds because it's not a recording off of the air. It's a recording that was made on reel in the studio. Okay. And then it's been transferred to cassette, and then I digitized it, and still it sounds like it's CD. It blows me away how crystal clear it is, how good it is. Let's see. Let me see if I can find the picture.
When I was a young kid, I never thought we'd have anything beyond 16-bit CD quality.
Oh, 16-bit. Yeah, right. Right.
Wow.
Right.
And then you zoom in on the waveform and you go, what the hell?
Yeah, what's this mess? Right, exactly. But where I was going with it is a lot of times the older stuff is better than the newer stuff. Like if you watch, I'll give you an example, and I'm sure everybody can relate to this. If you watch a classic movie, a Casablanca, and it's black and white, but or even I Love Lucy. Look at the old I Love Lucy's. They were perfectionists. All right, and
The Honeymooners. Does that count?
No, the Honeymooners is sort of, but it's not as sharp. It's not as good.
We're talking about audio, right?
No, I'm talking about video. I'm using the video as the example.
Okay.
in an old black and white like that, they had a team of engineers, makeup artists, lighting technicians, camera technicians. The whole enchilada all came together, and the print was near perfect. It was, I mean, I would almost call it high def, even though it wasn't. And yet you compare it to the new stuff, a lot of the new stuff that's out there today, and it's really high end cameras, and it's not analog tape, it's digitized, it's on a
35 millimeter.
yeah, right. And yet it's smeared. It's not as nice and crisp. And it's because shortcuts are taken, is where I'm going with it. And we did the same with the audio. Back then, all of these stations had great pride in their audio. And today it's, we'll put it out there because nobody's really listening anyway. And if they are, they don't know what they're listening to. They just accept it for what it is, and who the hell cares, you know? So it's a very different mindset. And yes, I am still, it's not easy to to do three things at once, to chew gum and and I don't know where the damn thing is. And of course I'll find it when the show is over, and I'll go, you should have put that in there too.
My neighbor from across the street
Terrible.
has chimed in. Hey, Chris. He's a ham radio operator as well. What are the chances?
Oh, cool.
Right?
Cool. Yeah.
Hey, Frank's joining us. Hey, Frank.
Frankie.
Ken says his college roommate would pull the audio out of a TV in the 70s and throw it through an amp, and it was amazing.
Here it is. I've got the picture. It's under WNAC. Okay, here we go. So I bring that up, and then I'll go back to the stream. All right, now how do I put it in the stream?
So at the bottom where your configuration tools are, where your microphone video, there's a screen with a plus on it. And I believe that might be your ticket.
All right, I want to do
rectangle with a plus.
You have no slides. I have to share the screen apparently. Okay.
Yeah, but within
image
that
file.
But within that you can share a window. Or the whole screen. And I typically just share the window.
Okay. So I'll hit plus, share screen. Choose what to share. Entire screen.
That's fine.
Okay. Now,
unless you're
you can see it, and I can't see it.
3 monitors. Let's see.
This is becoming a train wreck quickly.
Oh, it's fine.
Okay. Entire screen. Share.
Hey.
Now I have to get out of that because you'll see. Can you see the mixer now?
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay. Western Electric, WNAC.
Oh,
this is my kitchen. This is the console that Kurt Gowdy used. Now, WNAC became WRKO. And WNAC was part of the Yankee Network. And the Yankee Network was Major Armstrong, who invented FM. That's how far back. This is probably built in the 40s, this console. And
that's a beautiful box. Man.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Hand built.
Yes, absolutely. Totally.
And I bet you there was a hand drawn electrical schematic of every damn part in there.
Totally.
Absolutely. Look at that. Look how proud they were of stuff back then.
Oh hell yeah. Oh hell yeah. Now, can you see the tag? That's a brass tag.
Is that a serial tag?
Yeah, that's the serial number.
Has it got one on it?
It's 1 alpha. Yeah. Let me see if I can get a better picture. I know I have somewhere here. Oh, here's another. This is another good one. So, the switch, this is the impedance.
Looks
150 ohm or 600 ohm. It is. It is. So you can adjust it in the field. But that's what that means.
Accidentally do that.
Yes, but that's what that means. That's what feed are you feeding out of the console?
Right. There's no 50 ohm there, fellas.
No, everything. No, 600 ohms comes from the telco stuff.
Yeah.
150 is microphone. There are some 600 ohm mics, but they're usually 150 or lower. Like the old ribbon mics are even lower than that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But
This is the impedance input of the
well,
microphone.
I'm not positive. It could be input, yes. So here we have push terminals for the telco line to feed out. So you see line one. I don't know if you can see my cursor, my hand.
Oh yeah, yeah, we do.
Okay, so there's line 1, line 2, and then telephone, ground. Plug your headphones in here for monitor, or plug the telephone in here. Yep. I don't have I never saw the cord that mates with that socket, so I don't know. And I
Yeah,
didn't
try to
take
find that
the
bad boy,
cover
right?
off. But my buddy Richard, who used to live across town from me, this is his console. Now he has left it. He's still with us, but he's in Virginia. And Richard, he left it to the curator of W1XOJ, which is the same on the same site as WAAF out in Worcester. But W1XOJ, let me see if I have a picture of them. I don't know that I do, but I might. How do you know when you're in radio?
That's how you know when you're in radio.
We're in the radio folder here, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, look at this is like, you know, this is the Playboy of broadcasters.
But I can't get these pictures. This is your personal collection of photos, correct?
And I've got them all from the internet.
Okay.
And I'm happy to share them. But yeah, because I collect. You know. So this is a Gates. This is a Diplomat. This is one of the largest consoles you're going to find of that era. Late 60s, early 70s. It's a beast. Now, here's the other thing. It just occurred to me, but I want to share it. When you put your hand on the knob, depending on, let's say the blue and the green on the right-hand side of the meter that's turntable 1 and turntable 2. And your microphone is the first knob all the way to the left. You don't have to look at the meters. You can hear it in your headphones, and because those knobs have a piece that sticks out, and that's where that's the pointer of the knob. You don't have to look at the knob. You can turn it and feel where your hand is. It's like learning how to drive a standard transmission. Yeah,
Right.
You might the first 2 times in the parking lot look at the gear shift lever, and after that, you can hear the RPMs of the engine. You know what gear you're in. It's an H pattern. This is the same. Now, why do I bring it up? Because the new consoles, the next generation after this, were not rotary pots, they were sliders. And that's what I did with my show. And that's okay, but you really can't tell unless you look down, you can't tell where the slider is. From 0 to 100 all the way open. But on a rotary knob, you can. It's very different. And then today, we don't even use consoles. Everything is preset. All the levels are preset. You take your mouse. It's crazy. I could never do a show today. I could never do a show today because you're clicking with the mouse or a keyboard. And that turns on your mic, or that turns on the next record, or it's not a record, but it's down in the basement on a NAS, but it's playing the music. So it's not like having a 45 that you can back up and listen to. Now, do you see between the 2 speakers, there's a little grill just below the 2 meters, there's a little metal grill in the center of the board.
There. Yeah.
There's a little tiny 3-inch speaker there.
Oh,
that's called a Q speaker. And when you take the knob for the turntable and you go all the way to 0, you can continue to turn it down and it goes click. It's like turning a light switch off. When you flip it into that click mode, now that turntable is no longer on the air. It's playing out of that little speaker so that you can hear it. So you're playing Led Zeppelin on turntable number 1, but Def Leppard is queued up on number 2. And you want to hear the intro, and you want to look at the second hand on the big clock on the wall, and you're talking it up even though your mic isn't on, but you're getting the intro. You're getting your timing right. You're rehearsing. Okay? And then song 1 ends, you pot up number 2, and you talk over the segue, the overlap. And if you're really good, you hit the post. You end with the call letters a millisecond before the guy sings.
Ken has brought up the unholy argument of sliders versus pots.
Yeah. The rotary pots are by far easier to use. The sliders are okay.
Tel says they're awful.
But the new stuff doesn't even have that.
No, they're all optical now. Or they're either
it's
magnetic or optical. Yeah.
But it's not even a slider. They're preset. You don't get to adjust them. It's like, okay, so at EEI, so yeah, we were all news. We weren't playing music, but WEEI didn't have a console like any of the. I'm assuming you can still see my screen, all of these pictures, right? Okay, these consoles were not at EEI. They didn't have any consoles. Everything was on a touch screen. It was the first in the world. It was the prototype. And so you simply take your finger and you touch on the screen what you want to play. Now the problem is if you've had a little too much coffee that day and you've got Tourette's and you touch that screen, you might fire 3 things at once. And now they're all playing. You got a commercial for Ford and a commercial for Burger King and a something else playing at the weather report all at the same time.
I've heard that before. I've heard where 2 commercials are going at the same time.
Yes.
And I go, uh-oh, somebody's in trouble.
Big oopsie. Big oopsie. It's tough to do that with a real analog board. Again, it's like driving a stick shift. Would you find an automatic transmission on a Formula 1 race car?
No.
Why? You see,
Why?
I know the answer, but you get it. It's the same thing. So the talent is no longer able to drive the show. There's a disconnect. They can't. I don't care how good you are.
And if you're not in control of the show, then you yourself are the spectator as well.
That's right. That's right. So what the talent does now is they do what we call voice tracking, which means you record what you're going to say between records, and you record it, and it goes into the computer, and you can do 3 or 4 shows in advance. In fact, you don't even need to be in the studio. During COVID, a lot of the jocks did their show from home. They recorded into the laptop on a nice mic, and they email it in, and it goes into the server at the station, and that's it. And it's pre-assembled, and boom, and it sounds like the guy's there. He ain't. He's not doing it live.
Before I knew anything, I did some computer work for a gentleman, and he had this entire console set up in his house, and he had an ISD inline, right?
Yes,
ISD
right.
inline,
right.
And he had all this audio, and I was like, so what do you do? And he goes, oh, I do talk radio. And
bingo.
I said, from here,
right?
From home? And he goes, yeah, they came and they installed all these phone lines.
Right.
And it all goes into here, and then it all just kind of goes over there.
Yep.
And now I don't have to leave my house.
Uh-huh. Now, would you say that this is a Viswar problem?
Well, I mean, you're talking to the 75 ohm ham here.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
That's supposed to be let's see how to say this. That tube is supposed to be I want to say airtight, and also supposed to have a vacuum within it.
It's actually, you're close. It's actually not a vacuum. They inject nitrogen.
Oh, it's nitrogen filled.
It's about 5 psi.
That's a lot of psi of nitrogen.
Nah, it's not. It's
enough to hold up a tractor.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's nitrogen displaces water.
Is that the
So
reason?
yes, it's an
Okay.
inert gas. It's not
And
going
it's a
to
big
arc.
molecule.
So yep. So this tower got hit. This is a lightning strike. And the lightning traveled down. You can see the pipe on the inside. That's the hot center wire of the coax. And it traveled down and it arced over. It flashed over and it burned a bunch of holes. Lightning. Great stuff.
For those that don't know, I do moderate tower climbing for my friends, and I take down towers and such. So whenever I see a picture of anybody who's up on a tower,
Mhm.
the very first thing I'm thinking about is I'm hooked here, my foot's there, that foot's here, I'm holding
Mhm.
here. Okay, where's my wrench? Oops, there it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you tie a little rope onto all your tools.
This is this is an older processor. I'm going to say maybe late 70s, early 80s. I think Harris made it. Don't quote me on that, but I installed one of these at a station in Long Island, and so but the point of bringing it up is you can see. I don't know if you can read it. It says low band, mid band, high band, and then wide band. So this is a three-banded processor: bass, mids, treble, and then all of those three, after they get compressed, they get summed, and they end up into this final compressor, which is really a limiter. And then you've got all of these controls for each of those three bands. And this thing is stereo too. So, and this is a relatively simple one, but it can be made to sound very aggressive, which is what this particular station wanted.
This was the God box.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And this thing mounted at the transmitter. So it had the final say on what was
Really?
going into the transmitter. Right. And in
That
the
wasn't in the
studio,
studio.
so in the studio, you had a rack that had um, not as big or as powerful as this one, but it would sweeten the audio. And they added some echo, a little bit of reverb, again to fatten it up. And then that went out on a microwave hop from the studio to the transmitter. And then you have a microwave receiver, and that goes into this box. So the one in the studio is just there to keep the modulation, within range of the studio to transmitter link, the microwave link. And that was standard practice back in the 80s. You'd have two boxes, one for the studio and one at the transmitter. And it was basically like taking a saw and cutting this in half. So you might have the low, mids, and highs in the studio, and then the final limiter and the clipper would be at the transmitter. Let's see if I can.
Somebody
toss in
had
a
a
couple
little bit
more
of
here.
say as to what's going on then, it sounds like. This was back when you could still have a say as to what was going on.
Well, you'd have a say, but you would also
Once it was set, it was set, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows who this guy is? I bet you didn't know he was a disc jockey.
Oh, look at you.
No, that's not me.
Is it not?
That's not me. That's Hogan's Heroes. That's Bob Crane.
That's Hogan's Hero?
Yeah. That's Colonel Hogan. That's Bob Crane.
I need my glasses.
Yep. Yep. I can enhance a little bit.
No. I've got this whole. I'm trying to run this show on 3 different monitors here.
Oh,
And
okay.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
the screen here is about 3 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah. Bob Crane was a disc jockey before he went to Hollywood and did Hogan's Heroes. And I believe this station is in Connecticut. Don't quote me, but I think it is.
I see Bear Records laying on the desk.
He also, well, it gets even better than that. You've got good eyes. Let's really look at those records.
They've got multiple
Do you
holes punched
see?
in them.
Bingo. Those are not just records. Those, I believe, are ETs. They're electrical transcription discs.
Oh
And
my.
they're recorded either in that radio station or they're made by another radio station. So sometimes there's music on them. Sometimes that record in that ET, like if you ever hear at the end of a show from the 60s, you'd hear this, the following has been electrically recorded and transcribed. That was the quote that they give.
Now, also, just a wild stab here.
Yeah.
Those markings, those holes, I would imagine are also timekeepers.
No,
right?
it's there to lock into the platter.
That's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
that's a way for it to absolutely know the orientation and speed and everything of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not sitting on felt anymore, so you can't slip cue it.
No.
You can't put your finger on it and hold the record while the turntable spins underneath. It's locked to the turntable. Right. Tidbits. What else do I have that's safe?
Single guy here, folks. Watch out.
Yeah. So this is your typical 1960s studio.
Ape was asking if you were on Hogan's Heroes.
No, Ape. No. Oh dear.
Let's see.
I was the guy with the monocle. No.
Was AT40 sent out over these transcribed discs?
Yes. And then later it was on tape, reel-to-reel tape. Let's see what else.
I'm a ding dong. What's AT40?
American Top 40 with Casey Kasem. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Right, the bread and butter, right?
Yep. Who's this guy? Well, you can see it because it's labeled. Did anybody catch the name? Did anybody see who that was?
I can't see it. Let me full screen this so I can.
And the console that he's working on is an RCA.
Boy, look at those chops.
The BC6 Alpha, and that's the first console that I used in college. It's not the same one; it's the same model.
Yeah.
Does anybody do you recognize who it is, though?
I'm not going to say it out loud.
Okay. Anybody in the chat?
I can see the file name.
Anybody in the chat? Oh, you can see it.
I can't. Yeah, I had to embiggen it. Okay, somebody says that it's Ape.
It's Ape. Yeah. That's David Letterman.
Can hardly see that jaw through there. Oh, what a beautiful picture.
There's a little bit of corona discharge going on, folks.
I was about to say, there seems to be a little multipath action going on there. Right?
Oh, yeah. Look at the price.
Out of here.
Can you see the price?
Hey, man, $3 was not like $3 was a little chunk of change there.
This is when radio stations.
That's 3 big ones.
Yeah, I know. Am I the right caller? Did I win? Yeah. Did I
win? That's 3 big ones.
Isn't that great? We're having fun now, kids. Okay, so this is part of the WLS transmitter with the big knife switches on it. What a beast!
Oh, did you have to wear gloves?
Oh yeah.
My God. Was somebody behind you just in case?
There were a team. See, today you've got one engineer. Okay, when I was at EEI, we had 5 engineers. Real engineers, not board ops, people running the transmitter. And you do shifts back and forth. It's like working in a firehouse. And when my next job after that was, 15 or 20 years later, it's one guy for 4 radio stations. I had 4 stations on the air under one roof. One guy. Unbelievable.
That
It
sounds
is
like a
20
madhouse.
times the workload.
Would you just go door to door and make sure everybody was talking?
You walk into work and you look at the secretary and you say, "Where's the fire? Which one do I put out first?"
What is Ken talking about in e-ticket?
I don't know. I can't. I'm looking at my pictures. So you'll have to read to me what he wrote.
Ken says, just think of how much an e-ticket was back then. The letter E. I think we were talking about that $3 ticket. I'm not quite sure.
I'm not sure, Ken. What do you mean? Do you mean a write-up from the FCC, or do you mean a band ticket? I'm not sure. This is how close
Disneyland.
we.
E-ticket, Disneyland.
This is how close and devoted we are as engineers. This transmitter is being retired, or he is retiring, and he's saying goodbye. This is his trusted friend who's been through all of the wars, the
He
daily
knows more
wars.
about that transmitter than he does his wife.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, can be. Yeah.
Oh, this is interesting. Dell says that ticket or an ounce of gold was $34 back in 1973. And an ounce of gold now is $3,400. So that Beatles ticket was $300 if you just move the decimal respectively.
Okay. Yep.
3 big ones. See, I called it.
Very good. Very good. This is telling right here. What my mom thinks I do.
Yeah. What my friends think I do. Let me tell you about what my friends think I do. Holy crap. It's not at all what I think I do. What my ex thinks I do. What is that? During the day, I dress up like a radio producer. What my boss thinks I do, something professional.
Yep.
What I think I do.
And what I really do.
Oh, boy.
Yep.
How'd you get a picture of my room here?
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, dear. So many. I want to see. No, that's just a current sense probe. That's like the one that Ape built. I want to see the schematic for the phaser. That's a good one. But I don't see it. It must be in another group somewhere else. I know. It's under RKO.
Nothing beats a tactile hard button mute switch.
These pictures are. This is from the 50-year anniversary of all the old jocks.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go, kids. Now this is the schematic to beat all schematics. Okay.
Oh my.
Now let's zoom in. I know it's.
This is back when people
light.
had handwriting.
So if you read it from the right-hand side to the left, this is tower number 1.
Okay.
That I'm circling.
Right.
Okay. And there's an ammeter in line, so you can read the base current going into that tower. Here's tower number 2.
Yeah.
Yep. Tower number 2 and tower number 3.
Looks like there's our massive inductor.
Monty, I'll take door number 2.
Ah.
Right. So comes back from the antenna. You take some measurements. There's a little bit of tuning going on here.
Yeah, I see it.
There's a relay for each of the towers, depending on whether you're on the daytime pattern or the nighttime pattern.
Oh, that's a whole story in itself.
Yes. How do you get the phase to change? You do it through a piece of coax. And John will like this one. This is the actual phasing part of it. Okay, and there's one for each tower. I mean, it's really complicated. This is real engineering. This is beyond my pay grade.
Dell's asking if they were firing together, or was this a directional array?
This is WRKO in Boston.
Willing to bet.
This is 680 WRKO in Boston. It's a 3-tower Let's do this. Let's see. Let's close that picture. Can I don't know if I can open a tab at the same time. And let's see. Oh, what is it called? I assume you can see my browser, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Now they got rid of what I'm about to show you, so I'm not sure that it's going to work, but we will try. And if it doesn't work, I have an alternative that I will show you. Okay, so this is WRKO, right from the FCC. And technical data, towers and patterns. Aha. Okay, so it shows me the pattern. What it doesn't, and this is, I'm going to go to the other thing. So what they used to show you was the phase for each of the three towers, the orientation on a compass, where the three towers are, not just the pattern, the actual towers, the distance between them in degrees, electrical degrees, the height of the tower in electrical degrees. Let me see if I can bring that up. So let's look at that in the meantime.
No pressure.
No pressure. This is my audio processor. This is what I use.
I love the classic Winamp
to play, and I tweak till the cows. These are my own custom settings that I've made, which I will share with you at some point, but not now.
Not now.
Because I can't, because it'll get a strike. You'll get a copyright strike if I play. I'd love to play something over the
Wouldn't be my first, trust me.
Well, then if you give me the green light, we can do it. If I hope I don't lock up, but I need the name of this company. On Google Earth, I have a plugin here that will show me everything that I need to know. So there's me. And if I go over here.
There's Walmart.
So here is Hull, Nantasket Beach. And if I click on the AM stations, it tells me what the station is, which I already know. But, okay. So for the folks watching at home, Cavell and Mertz, write that one down. Okay?
Cavell, Mertz.
In fact, let's do this. Just to prove it. Let's do this.
Everybody's really excited that they saw Winamp on your screen.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't tell anybody. Yeah. Because this is where you will get, here we go. So this is where you will get the information.
Oh,
now you know
What
how
a picture.
Hollywood is always in the chat saying, I only use resonant antennas.
Only.
Watch what I'm about to show you. If you go to industry resources and then fccinfo.com. Okay, now you go in here and you type in the call letters of the station you want. WRKO. I get the same listing as what I saw at the FCC page, but now I can see, if I click on it, all of the electrical details. Here's the pattern on the right-hand side.
Ooh.
Here's the orientation of the three towers. Here, Tower 1, it shows you how much power is going into each of the three towers. What is the phase between them? So Tower 1 is your control. That's the one that doesn't move.
Zero.
Electrically, right.
Right.
And it shows you the distance in electrical degrees. John is taking notes. He's like, wow, this is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Most of you have probably seen this already if you do phasing. All right. But for those that haven't, but here is the kicker. Look at the height of the tower. It's not 90 degrees. At this particular radio station, they're 108 degrees. They're longer than a quarter wave. So they're not resonant.
Well, I mean, how could it be? Yeah,
Well,
this-
because everybody says I only use resonant antennas. It has to be a quarter wave. That's a 90 electrical degrees. These are not quarter waves.
No.
Okay? Let me go back one step. Let's pick a different station.
Ken says, I bet John is in heaven right now.
You give me, what's a station in AM in Florida?
Let's see. We have one local here to Placa.
AM. Got to be an AM.
Right. Let me get the WPLK. I should have known that. Placa, PLK. WPLK.
Okay. Here's PLK. 800 on the dial.
Correct.
Is a 1 kilowatt daytimer.
And that thing is a hammer at even just 1K.
Okay. Power, 1 kilowatt non-directional. Therefore, it has one tower only. Okay. Tower, one.
Bad example.
Tower electrical height, 93.7 degrees.
Ooh.
Not 90, not quarter wave. It's almost 4 degrees longer, which is
isn't a bad thing.
minuscule.
Yeah.
It's nothing, but it's a completely random, but it's an example. 99% of the AM sticks are not resonant. So that blows that theory. Everybody says, oh, I've got to use a resonant antenna. And by the way, folks, these towers are all fed by coax. There is a tuning unit at the base of the tower to match that complex impedance to the 50 ohm line, but it doesn't make the tower any less effective as a radiator. These are businesses, and their job is to put as much signal as they can into the target city or town that they're feeding. So they would never use an antenna that isn't very effective.
How about WBOB?
Okay, so BOB is 600. It's a 50 kilowatt.
There we go.
Jacksonville.
That's what I'm talking about.
All right. And he has 2 towers.
Nice. There we go.
Now, we got a problem, folks. Houston, we have a problem. 0 degrees electrical height?
We got no data.
No, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Moving on.
Quickly moving on.
Yeah, quickly moving on. How about
well, let's look at so I'm trying to think, what are the call letters? So let's look at BZ.
Okay.
So BZ has 2 towers. They're 50 kilowatt. They're heard in 38 states at night. Look at the pattern. Remember, they're out. This is where BZ lives. Let me get rid of this.
Basically in the water.
They're in the drink, right?
Yeah.
This, where I'm circling, is Boston.
That's their market.
Yeah. So, and I'm down here.
Sure.
Right? But that signal is a cardioid, and it goes almost out probably halfway out into the country. So if you look at the map, right,
please tell me you're going to put that cardioid on top of the Google Earth layout.
I wish I could. You'll have to do it in your mind's eye, but that's where the signal is going. So we used to say on the air, it's 38 states at night and 6 provinces of Canada. Massive signal. Look at the height of the antennas.
Oh, I have to put my glasses on.
I just highlighted it. Yeah.
80 degrees?
188 and a half.
Ooh.
So they are end-fed half waves that are a little bit too long. If they were perfectly half wave, they'd be 180 degrees. But
and they would present infinite impedance, right?
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it'd be 2,500 or 3,000 ohm in that ballpark. So by making them 8 degrees longer, they've lowered the impedance to a more, I don't know exactly what the number is, but it's a more manageable level that now the tuner can handle. Okay. And they're 93.5, roughly 93.6 physical degrees between them. And the phase angle is 86.4 degrees electrically. But they're non-resonant. That's what I want you to take home.
I want to tell everybody, when I first started building antennas, I was always chasing the dragon. I was taking a wrap off, putting a wrap on, experimenting with quarter wraps, experimenting with spacing, going, stringing it up, stringing it down. I had this nice, real fast pulley system because, I'd have this antenna up and down 10 times a day, and it wouldn't be just that antenna. I've got a whole sweep of antennas for InFed, and I was really chasing the dragon here. And I realized that I was spending a lot more time building than I was playing. And
Right.
I've since come full circle. And I have to thank you for this because for whatever reason, I started getting a small collection of manual tuners together.
Right.
And this is about the time when I met Ape, and Ape's big thing was, be a real ham and use a manual tuner. Real hams use a manual tuner.
Yeah. Drive the
And
car. Don't put it in drive. Don't let
and
it drive you. You shift the gears. Right.
Right. And so since you've taught me, about the currents, starting at, you always start at the tip.
Yep. Yep.
And work your way back. Since I've learned that, and I've also learned that radials, right? But not just radials, period. Different length radials
Right.
allow
Right.
options, allows your antenna options, right?
Right.
Depending frequency depending. You go a couple hundred kc up, it's going to favor the
Right.
shorter radial or the longer radial, whatever.
Exactly.
All of this, and what's beautiful is that I was talking to Hollywood today. I've deployed a 300-foot long wire,
Oh yeah.
and it is now my new favorite toy. And it's highly directional. What is it? It's a bi-directional beverage,
It's a beverage. It's
right?
acting as a beverage.
And it is a laser beam.
It's how many feet?
300.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And so I've got my ICOM 7300 and a little manual tuner, a little MFJ manual tuner, and I'm out in the backyard and I'm coming in 5.7 to Italy. And you know what? There
Right.
wasn't a single bit of math or test equipment involved.
Right.
And I've come full circle into InFed antennas in general. And now I just kind of want to just put wire out there and I'll handle all the business later.
There you go.
Because life's short, and antennas are actually real easy. The more wire can be, the merrier, if you allow it to be, for sure.
Yes. I mean, there are better antennas.
Absolutely.
But the take home is if the conductor, if the wire is long enough, you can make a match. You can get it to match to the transmitter. If the wire is too short, you can still do it, but it's difficult and you lose efficiency. But if the wire is much longer than you need it to be, that's easy. It will still accept power.
And if you model it, you can get real close to it accepting most of the power.
Yep. Absolutely. So that's why my mentor got into my head and he said, build the antenna, figure out where do you want the power to go. That's the first thing. Get a target. Then you build the antenna to put the power on that target. Then, after all of that's done, the last step is you get it to match to the transmitter so that it will accept power. But we do things the other way around. Most of the hams, and that's
we
advertising.
argue about it most of the
time. Yeah. Because I mean, look, if I'm building tuners, I want to sell tuners. I don't want to give you the physics of why you don't need my tuner. No, I'm going to tell you, you do need my tuner and you need my SWR meter, and it has to be a digital display. It can't be an analog because digital is more accurate. It doesn't matter that it's another, it's a half a watt difference. Who the hell cares? I mean, nobody's going to hear it on the other end.
And here's the thing too, right? So I'm constantly impedance matching this thing because I'm trying to, split the baby on each band here.
Right. Right.
And the bottom line is that an end-fed half-wave transformer impedance matching device, it's static. It's not
Right.
dynamic.
Right.
Whereas a manual tuner, if I need to move up, 500K, I just kind of twist this dial a little bit, and
That's
hey,
right.
everybody's
That's right.
happy again.
Yep.
It's a much simpler way to play radio, in my opinion.
So can you see this picture?
I sure can.
Okay.
You guys
This
didn't
is
have a little scooter or anything?
a little what?
a little scooter or something to get out there? You just had to take the walk, huh?
No, you walk the catwalk because this is all
Yeah.
water. It's all
Yeah.
swamp. Low tide, so it's relatively dry, but that's BZ. That's between the two towers. And I was lucky one spring. I got a tour, and I'll show you some of those pictures. By the way, this little stick on the left here, that is what's left of WBOS, which was a shortwave radio station that BZ
my.
owned, that Westinghouse owned. World War II, this goes back to.
Shortwave. What's the remind us the frequency range of shortwave?
HF.
HF. Okay.
HF is shortwave, above the broadcast band and below 30,
Okay.
between 17 and 30 megs.
Got it.
So, and I'm sure they did multiple bands, and they probably had a T, a wire coming up and feeding a horizontal wire in the middle.
Dell makes a great point. A resonant antenna is great, but I want to be able to transmit 3 to 30 megs.
Right. It's only resonant on one frequency, not even one band, just one frequency is it resonant. Okay, so here are those 288-foot towers, okay? And yeah, it's on a catwalk, and look at all the barbed wire and everything, because you sure don't want anybody out there, And this is looking at, you can see, that's Boston where I'm circling right there. It's across the bay. And by the way, this bay is where, have you guys heard of Kilroy? Kilroy was here. Kilroy was the stamp that that one of the inspectors put on the ships that were built for World War II. Kilroy was a real guy, and he lived in Quincy. And the Quincy River Shipyard is right on the opposite side of these towers. There's a whole bunch of history here. All right, anyway.
A World War II inspector?
Yeah. Yep. This is the doghouse at the base of one of the two towers.
You didn't need a radio to listen to the station there.
Correct. This whole thing is singing. Believe me, you can hear it. So we have a metal fence to keep, it's a Faraday cage. Oh, look at the jumpers. Do you see them on the bottom right?
Those are bonding wires.
Yes, that's correct. Because without them, this fence here might be neutral or semi-neutral, and this one would be hot. And if you were to open it, zappo.
Oof.
Okay. And remember, these are end-fed half waves. Pretty close.
They want to find anywhere lower impedance. By God, please.
Yep. So these are very high impedance towers. Can you see? That's a vacuum variable capacity. This is the tuning unit. This whole thing.
One day I will own one of those variable vac tubes.
This is this donut right here. This is a sense probe for current that is feeding that meter to show you how many amps are flowing. Yep.
Why did we have to put that label on there?
Because when the switch is up, that's what it means. It means when tower 1 is on and tower 2 is off and you're doing maintenance and you're in non-directional mode, which is very rare. That's all that means. Okay. This wire here is line current, probably 220 AC, and that's to light the lights on the tower. That's not coax. But that is a coil. Look at the size of the thing. It's way over here on the right, all the way to the left. I wish I could. No, I guess I can. Yeah. That whole thing is a coil. It's a loading coil. Okay.
Yeah.
You've got, here's the coax, and there's the gauge showing you that there's a few psi of nitrogen in the line. And that's going back to the transmitter. Okay.
It says non-directional would drop the signal here in Rochester, about 350 miles to the west.
Yep. So look at, I mean, this is the base of the tower. You see the orange in the upper right? That's the bottom of the tower.
Right.
Sitting on a concrete slab in the wet. And look at the green. You see the green? Those are all copper. That's the ground. And there are radials in the water too.
What a job.
Unbelievable stuff. Yeah, yeah. This is the bottom of the tower. These are the ball gaps. So when lightning hits the tower, it goes down the tower and jumps across that gap to the ground. Hopefully, most of it goes that way and not down the coax to the transmitter. That's what their purpose is. This is an insulator that the tower is sitting on, this piece that's behind this wood slot, but I'm drawing my hand over it, okay? That is made of ceramic. That's handling not just the full weight of the tower, but also the downforce on all of the guy wires.
Oh yeah, no, there's probably as much, if not more,
Oh yeah,
being applied by the guy wires than
Yeah.
just the weight of the tower itself.
massive amounts of pressure. Now, at the bottom of the tower, we have an I-beam, and you can
I know what that's
see.
for.
Did I tell you, or do you know?
No. I just
Tell-
I've just assumed in my head what that's
Oh.
for.
Go right ahead.
They put a hydraulic under there so they can
Yep.
change out the insulator.
You got it. 100%. That's it. Yep. That's how you raise that tower by just a few millimeters enough, and that thing slides out, and you pop a new one in.
Run, because your job's done. You get paid, boys.
But I mean, it's cool because these are pictures that most people don't ever get to see.
Hey, Colin and VK has joined us. Hey, buddy.
Yeah. There are the main and the aux transmitters. These are, remember I talked about electrical transcription discs when I showed you Bob Crane? Okay, these are ETs made from Westinghouse at BZ. 1950, February.
An ET, huh?
Electrical transcription disc, right. And sometimes when we used to record on reel-to-reel tape, you would label the tape as tails in or tails out. And the tail is the end of the tape. Sometimes they'd be rewound backwards, so it would be tails out, and you'd have to run it, on the reel-to-reel, dump it into another reel, an empty reel, and then put it, swap them so that it's on the playback side, so you can play it in the forward direction. And the reason why I brought that up is sometimes these grooves are also from the inside out. And if they are, they'll be on the label. It will tell you, cut from the inside out or from the outside in, like a conventional record would be. Some of these, this happens to be a show, but some of them have commercials on them. So for those who don't know, BZ in Boston originally was WBZ in Springfield, and that became WBZ-A, and they moved BZ to Hull, or to the Boston area. But that's what an ET looks like. Here we are back in the good old days before Hollywood was born. And yeah, and you'll notice it's balanced line, and his head's right between. Obviously, the thing is off. It has to be, but right through the glass.
I don't know. He's got his chin up, Hollywood.
Yeah. And the engineers all wore ties and jackets Yeah,
Well, I mean, that's when people had respect, damn it.
you got it. Yep.
People used to dress up to fly.
You sure did. Yeah. And this is what it looks like from the street. Look, disguised to be a house.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
How considerate, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Cool stuff. BOA, you've probably seen. What else can I show you? I mean, that's interesting because they're interesting to me, but they're not probably to everybody. I'm sure. And maybe we've done enough. Oh, what is doing a remote. A remote broadcast.
This is where POTUS started, boys.
Yeah, that's POTA, right? Back in the day, right. Yeah. The EBS. This is something too that we take for granted. So back in the day, before it was the EAS, and it does say EAS here because this is a recent one. But prior to that, it was EBS, the Emergency Broadcast System. And it was very similar. You'd get this pink envelope, and I think you'd change them maybe, I don't know, once a year. And it would be on the back wall of the studio, the main studio. And the teletype, the ticker, typing away the news. If it would ding, 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 the president got shot, or we declare war, some major catastrophe. You would get a series of bells, ding, 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 ding on the machine. I mean, you couldn't miss it. And then it would print out, it would say, this is an emergency, an official emergency, and here are the authenticator words. And you would have to open the sealed envelope and compare those words for that month. And if it was a match, then and only then would you read the story on the air. And then probably go off the air and shut the transmitter off because you weren't the one station in the city that was in charge of feeding under an emergency situation.
That was
this is all automated now.
Two-factor authentication back then.
Yeah, this is all automated now. It's all done by computer. But back then it was manually done. And when I got my first job, because of the responsibility, I remember asking somebody, what happens if I'm the only guy here? It's 3:00 in the morning. And the thing goes ding, ding, ding. And I open the envelope and they match. What do I do? You know what his answer was to me? He says, kid, you bend over and you kiss it goodbye. Because it's the end of the world. You've got an Air Force base that's 5 miles down the road. Believe me, they're going to launch with afterburners. You better, duck and cover. Ain't going to help you. So, yeah.
What happened to doorknob capacitors for the amateur radio hobbyist? Where did they all go?
They're still there.
The last one I bought cost me over $30.
Oh yeah, they're pricey, but they're available. Everybody's how much you want to spend.
It's just a simple little 5 kV.
Right. Well, it's
doorknob.
Supply and demand. Yeah.
And it had to come. It came from the Ukraine.
Yeah. Because it's probably war surplus stuff.
Yeah. I was.
Anyway,
so that's new old stock, but anyhow.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on before you close that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the blue lines on that.
Sure.
On that radiation pattern.
So all the blue lines mean it says 10x. So it just means if you were to zoom out, they haven't drawn it here, but this null in the red. If you were, I got it wrong. If you were to zoom in, then you would be looking at the blue. The blue continues out goes way over here to the left of the screen and comes back around. It's the same as the red, but it's 10 times larger. So what they're showing you is how deep is the null on the backside of that cardioid pattern.
I mean, that's the side that was facing the water. So
Yes.
I would assume,
Yes.
yeah.
That's correct. That's exactly right. So there's
don't
no
need any
sense in
power.
putting any power out to the fishies at the sea. Who the hell cares? We want to feed it in the inland.
Where the money's at.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this is a really, really good, it's actually, I think you can go to fccinfo.com. We'll get you there directly. So put that in your bookmarks, because that's a good one. And if you do the FCC info on Google Earth, you can download the widget, which I have installed here on the left-hand side. So you can, any station you want, it doesn't have to be AM. You can look at the TV stations. Let me uncheck AM. Here's all the TV stations. And if you click on one and it gives you the details, 15 kilowatt, boom, you click on it and it takes you to that site and gives you everything you need to know. So this is a great addition for Google Earth.
I think it's the only reason why I'm going to use Google Earth now.
Yep. Yep. and it will do you look at FAA obstacles. It'll do the microwave hops for all the towers. So like, let's just for grins, let's go down to Florida. Okay, so whereabouts are you? Where is this? Give me the station. Whereabouts is the station? Pick one.
Okay. Just start zooming in a little bit. Right dead center of your screen. Yeah, just start zooming in. And stop. Go to the water to the right. And let's see if we can't find St. Augustine. It's going to be probably up. Yeah, way up. There's the St. Johns River. And then there's Palatka, right dead center of your screen.
Right, I got it.
Yeah, there's Palatka.
Okay. You want to pick one of those?
I mean, I think is that the 800 station right there? No, that's on the other side of the water. Yeah, pick that one, sure.
Okay. So
not sure what that is. WPO. No, that's one we already looked up. No, there's two.
There's two. And they probably share a tower. Looks that way. So you've got a 1260
at 400 watts.
Only 400 watts.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. So let's zoom in a little tighter.
That's an interesting.
And let's look at we'll look at the property here.
Amount of power. That's a lot of property for 400 watts.
Yeah.
Look at that beautiful.
But no, there's two. There's two stations. There are two stations on that one stick.
So it's duplexed.
Yeah.
Ooh, now it gets real interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How do we duplex with a single stick? We've got two. That means we have to have two different tuners.
That's right. You got it. And tuner A only passes signal A and rejects signal B. Completely rejects it. It's very similar to the cavity filter that you have at a 2-meter repeater. But it doesn't look like that. But it does the same function.
Bill wants to know if Cabell is a Boston or is it a nationwide thing?
I don't know. It's free. You can download this for free. It didn't cost me a dime. These are the engineers that do all the site surveys.
I would say
the broadcast industry.
Yeah.
So this is the 400 watt at 1260. And one tower, 147.5 degrees.
Oof.
So, I mean, he's not 90 and he's not 180.
Not 180.
Mm,
kind of right there, somewhere in the middle,
hmm
which is which is kind of pretty great, actually, if you think about it.
hmm
Yeah,
hmm
get a little bit more of a horizontal bubble.
Yep. So
Jelly bean.
at 1260, the tower. Remember, the tower is not different height for each signal. These two stations are sharing one tower, so the tower physically doesn't change its height. So at 1260, it happens to be 147.5 degrees tall. However, if we look at the other station, this guy is 1 kilowatt at 800. And now the tower is going to be shorter. And it is. It's 93.7 degrees tall.
It's shorter at its electrical length.
Yes, these
Yeah.
are electrical lengths. This is the physical length here in meters.
Which they're both the same.
Yes, because it's
Yeah.
one tower, right?
That's going to
But
answer your
this is
question
the
here, Dell.
yes, but this is the electrical height of it.
Right. Yeah. Dell was asking, so the tower has 2 vertical wires? No, it does not.
Nope, it's one tower, one wire.
I have got to get this for Frank here. He's private messaging me.
Oh,
Look at KGO.
yeah.
KSFO in San Francisco.
Okay.
With the he wants you to look specifically at its electrical height.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like you know right where it is.
Well,
Well,
I can fool some of the people some of the time.
you can fool me all the time.
I know. I can hear Frank screaming, "Go up, go up, go up! What
Yeah.
are you doing? You missed it. You missed
I
it."
gotta thank you, Ziggy, in the private messages. Anything for you, Frank?
I don't know why I'm getting my bearings. Because you know why? Because I'm under pressure. That's why.
He says just south of KPH.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank.
So here's KPH, which is online as an SDR, by the way, and you guys should all have that in your favorites. Okay.
In San
So
Francisco.
here's
proper.
San Fran. Here's San Fran. And so what is the call letters? It's K what?
KGO? KSFO?
KSFL.
Oh, Oscar. KGO. Kilo Golf Oscar.
And it's an AM?
He says it might be KSFO. Yeah, it would have to be AM, right? That's all we're talking about. That's all that matters.
Yeah. I don't see it.
Let's see if I can't help here.
Oh, here it is. I got it.
Hey!
It's that down at the bottom. Here it is. KSFO. Right here.
AM
Here we
810.
are. We found it, kids. Okay. 810, 50 kilowatt. Okay, so here is the site. Two towers in the drink, in the swamp. Now notice, I don't know if you can see, it says KGO Towers. Now, to
KGO.
me, that means this used to be KGO. And then they sold and the call letters changed and it became KSFO. I don't know if that's accurate or not, but that's sort of what it looks like to me. All right, well, let's look. Okay, so 50 kW, 3 towers. So they're in line and the pattern matches the orientation of the 3 towers. They are, oh, Frank, you win the gold star. Look at, they're all 90 degrees. This is the oddball. These are resonant.
I had a munchkin jump in here. I'm sorry.
It's
Catching
okay.
up. We're at 90 degrees.
Frank wins the gold star of the night.
Oh my gosh, that's a big old tower.
This is rare. This is very rare.
And that pattern, what a hammer.
Yep. Yep.
So what's the purpose of number 2 there? Number
The-
2 is the null tower? Is number
Well,
2 transmitting so that number 1 and number 3 get out harder?
notice that number 2 has more power than 1 or 2
Oh, wow,
or
isn't that
3. See
interesting?
that?
We're burning power for directionality.
Yep. Yep. So there's an interference pattern created between them that pulls in these skirts left and right so that it goes, northwest, southeast. Hmm. You can really go down a rabbit hole, and again, this is beyond my pay grade. I enjoy it. I know a little bit to be dangerous, but to do a full blown analysis, you know what you can do?
Yes.
Now we must. So you thought this was going to be an hour-long stream?
No, I did
Nay,
not.
nay, 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 nay.
No. I learned from the last one. They weren't inappropriate at
All right,
best.
let's close a few tabs that I don't need, and let's close that. I'm actually surprised that my computer hasn't crashed. I shouldn't even say that because it might. And let's open Manigal, because I'm going to show you. I did a model of, and if I can find it, of some of these towers.
I jumped on a stream last night, and before I did, I asked if I could come on in the chat, and then somebody on stream said, "Here comes Ziggy to steal the show with modeling
Magnificent.
software."
Magnificent.
And I said, okay, these guys are getting a little tired of me here.
Yeah.
And so I did the whole latter half of the stream, and I didn't pull up my Manigal once, and boy, I was sitting there just sweating bullets.
So I took that information that we just looked at on the web,
Okay,
for BZ, and I modeled BZ, and you're looking at it.
you did this before the stream?
No, I've never shared my screen on the stream live. No, I never have. So I think this is a first.
Okay.
So we're going to run
it.
it.
Last, folks, don't get comfortable.
Right. Get rid of this guy. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
All right. So, so
let me get my glasses.
They're 800 ohms, not each, but combined.
$1477 JX ohm. We get a SWIR 70. That's fine. I'm okay with all that.
70 to 1.
Let's look at some current. That's all that matters.
That's now remember, that's not in the coax. That's at the base of the tower, and then it goes into a tuner and it's converted to 50 ohms. So the VISWAR on the line is a 1-to-1 or very close to it. Okay. But at the base of the tower, it's a 70 to 1 match to 50 ohms.
Which sounds impossible, folks, but hold on, there's more.
Okay. So
there's
the current. There's the current. And there's your match.
Oh,
there's your pattern. And that's exactly what we just saw. So I simply transposed. I just drew everything out exactly that I got online.
To scale.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep. So if I can do it, you can do it.
I had somebody ask me, they said,
look at how it hugs.
Oh my God.
Do you understand why it's heard in 38 states? Yeah. Oh yeah.
Dell said, are the modern transformers these days hooked at 50 ohms, or do they have some magical impedance?
Modern transformers.
Transmitters, I'm sorry.
Oh, in a broadcast studio, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, they were all 50. Yeah, the old stuff might have been 600 balanced line,
Sure.
but no, they're all 50 now. And half of them are solid state.
Was it you that was you? I believe so. You're the only person I know. Um, the tubes had even harmonics that were pleasing to the ear, right?
Yes, that was me that said that. Yes.
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 And the solid state ones have odd harmonics,
Odd.
which
Yeah, it's third harmonic, and when they clip very harshly.
destructively. You're right.
It very. Yeah. Well, let's just look at this quick, and then I'll talk about that, and maybe I'll see if I can find a picture for you to explain it. This is WEZE, which was WEI. It's just different call letters, same transmitter, same location in MIFA. Okay, so let's run it. So they're at 590 AM, 31 ohms, a much better match.
Wow. I could dial that in.
Okay. So these, you can tell by the current right away that these are closer to quarter waves. They're not quarters, but they're closer to than what we looked at BZ, which was like a half wave. It was very low current. These are high current. There's a lower impedance. You can just tell by the red line.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's look at the plot. Okay. So the plot is a little bit east. It's going a little bit east, but it's mostly north and south. And yes, that does also agree with what the FCC shows. So when this station where I was at 590 was broadcasting the Boston Marathon, Marathon starts in Hopkinton, which is due west. You can't hear the signal out there. So my reporter can't get his cues. He can't hear the station. So what I did was in the van, I dialed up the station and I had them put me on hold. Now I have the real feed before the delay, right? It's live. And then I feed that into a very low power FM transmitter. And I give him my Sony Walkman, which I got from WBCN. And he's up in a tree with a wireless mic and he can hear. So I've got what's called an IFB line. I can talk to him. I can interrupt the feed through the mixing console and I can talk to him. And when I don't talk, he hears the cue from the station. So the reporter at the studio at the Peru, yeah, let's talk to Steve. He's in Hopkinton right now. And Steve's, how's it looking? How's the weather out there?
Oh, that's how you get around the
And
delay.
that's it. Right. Exactly. It's all done real time. Right. And then when it gets through,
watch your mouth, buddy.
Is that what I said?
No, not you. I'm saying what you would tell the guy that's live with you.
Yes.
But then but wait a minute, since he's on that side of the delay, then the delay can still be caught.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes, exactly right. Right. Because it's all live from the remote including the studio. That everything in-house is live. And then it gets delayed by 7 seconds and the producer has time to catch it before it gets to the transmitter. So anyway, so if this is your thing, you can model all of these broadcast transmitters and antennas and have a ball.
I absolutely love the modeling software. I can't get
fun.
enough of it. I've learned so much from a manual tuner and Manigal. By myself.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from all the instruction from you, but I mean, just my God, by myself, you can just start to understand what it is that you're really doing.
Yep.
I feel like we have this superpower. There's so many hams that buy an antenna and just they hope that it's
right.
They just hope.
Right. So I'm going to try to draw this, and it is probably going to be a disaster.
Ken said that Ziggy is the joy of the hobby.
Right. All right, let's see if I go like this and I go with that shape and no soft edge. Yeah, okay. All right.
By the way, the sine wave paint picture that you made me paint the
Yeah.
other week is one of my most cherished images.
You put it on the refrigerator?
It's yeah.
Cool.
I told some friends, I'm like, he made me draw it.
Well, I'm going to suffer the same fate now. So let's see. Yeah, it's tough to do with a mouse.
It's super hard, isn't it?
It's really hard. All right. So, but here's a wannabe sine wave. Okay, we can all agree. All right. So now, if it was a tube, it'll do this. And this is not very well drawn. But if I look...
Where's your circle tool? You could
if
draw
I
two
look-
circles and do some erasing.
if I look here, right at this spot,
The clip?
right at that spot, that's what we would call a soft knee. This is a tube. This is really tough. All right. So when a tube clips, it squares off the top and the bottom. Yes. But before it gets there and after it leaves there, it's a rounded edge. It's what we call a soft knee when we do audio compression. So there is distortion, but it's not really irritating. I mean, if it gets really... And this is why a guitar player will use a tubed amp, a big Marshall amp with tubes in it or FETs in it, because they behave acoustically very differently. They do this thing. Okay, they will. You can introduce a fuzz pedal, which will give you some of the edge, like that. But if it's just raw and you crank the gain up, it will round out that edge. All right, now, if I do
The leading edge.
you're not gonna play for me. So let's do this. Let's do another page. All right. We'll get rid of that one. Okay. So now, if I were to draw the same sine wave with a transistor, well, that's right. Let's try again. It's still not right. It's the point that I'm trying to make, and I can't draw it, is that this area here, and really this one and also this one will all have a sharp edge. And when you have a sharp edge, there's a transition from this DC level here and this DC level here. And the faster that it changes, the sharper the edge, the more harmonics there are. And these harmonics are objectionable. They sound really irritating. So if you had a tube that is doing more of what's right here, it's a softer knee, and there will still be some harmonics. Generally, there'll be even harmonics, and there'll be less of them. And the ear oftentimes finds them pleasurable. A little bit goes a long way. And I apologize. I mean, that's really not the way to demonstrate it.
Ken says these features are not modeled in current PC DAW software.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know if I can find a picture of.
Oh, I found so many.
Did you? You got some? All right. Let me go back to. Let me stop sharing, and I'll look at the stream and see what you've come up with.
Let me just. I've completely unorganized myself. Let's see. Let's go to. Is this middle screen splining? And then I'm going to go back to Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yeah, there you go. I didn't know we were going to go down this rabbit hole, but that's okay.
I did.
Okay. Oh, well, there you go. There you go. Yeah. So the hard clipping in the red, you see that there's an edge where it changes from blue to red. And the sharper that edge is, the worse it is. The more harmonics there will be, the more distortion your ear is going to hear.
Harder on the equipment.
Yep. But the orange or yellow is also attenuating. I don't know if I'd say it's clipping, but it's attenuating. And there is distortion because you can see that the difference between the blue and the yellow is it's not just the height of the wave, but it's occupying the same space. So it's rounding it out. There is a distortion there, but there's less of an edge where it meets the blue. That's really what you would look at if you were looking at an oscilloscope. You're still here, Ape? You've put up with all of my BS all this time?
He has blown
Bravo.
off all the
Man,
other streams going off to be here
you-
tonight, Hollywood.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
he really has. He's been here, I think, pretty much from the beginning.
How many cigars?
He doesn't get away with that many at the QTH, I don't think.
That's good. Very good. Thank you, Abe. That's cool. And if you have any questions, jump right in. And Frank, too. Anybody, Yeah. Yeah, you hearing the raspiness? It's starting to kick in. Buttery smooth, my eyeball. Come on. See, I caught myself.
That's a buttery nose if I've ever heard one. So let's see.
Better than a brown one.
You search for soft knee and you get all this soft tissue stuff.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh, this is what I wanted to see. Yeah, let's open image in a new tab. Let's look at this specifically. I think this is a much better represent. Now this is actually so this is going to shift. So we're going it's going to fade from one to the other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Perfectly horizontal clipping.
Right.
Let's see, like TANH and most other methods. And we have non-horizontal clipping, and then we have that other thing that happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything other than perfectly horizontal clipping. I'm sure it exists. Depends on the phase that the clipper attacks that particular wave. But I've never seen it on a scope.
It's so minute, but boy, it will destroy audio. Absolutely.
Yeah, it will. But also understand that clipping only happens at one instant in time. It may repeat if, let's say it's a particular drum. So the initial impact of the stick on the drum, it'll clip, and there'll be 2 or 3 or 4 bounces, of the drum skin that the mic picks up. So there'll be 3 or 4 humps there, let's say, that get clipped. And then after that, there's no clipping. Do you hear it? Yes. Do you acknowledge that you hear it? A lot of people don't acknowledge that they hear it. They don't know what to listen for. So unless it's really, really, really bad, they don't even know that it happened. In fact, a lot of time it's done intentionally to get the drum kit to sound bigger. Yeah, the dark side of radio. Exactly.
These guys want more. Look at this. Next one, Zig. We love
Wow,
rabbit holes.
cool. This is cool. Yeah. Hear harmonics and even small mistakes. Yes. Yep. That's true. Yeah. I think we hear more patterns easily than
We're creatures of pattern.
yes. Right. But you know what? It's like I used to tell people, it's like if you took your older car, 1960s, 1950s, to the real old timer mechanic, and he lifts the hood and he goes, "Oh yeah, I can hear the number 3 valve. It's got a problem."
Yeah.
He
You're
knew
making
not
me.
just that it's a valve. He knew it was an intake valve, and he knew what cylinder it was.
You're
Right?
you're really making my brain
And
twitch when you say
but
that,
that's
because I'm becoming in tune with these vehicles, Hollywood, and
yeah,
I
yeah.
just I hear them, and then I sit in the seat and I close the door, I turn off the radio, and
Right.
I go, yeah, the owner has no idea.
Right. 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 Once you get rid of all the other noise, the people talking, the radio, the road noise, the distractions, and you can hyperfixate on what you're listening to and then understand what you're listening to, because otherwise it's just noise still. You have to decode it in your head, and then you can focus in. Oh, yeah, now I got it. It's the number
Oh,
3 intake valve.
this is a is
Yeah,
this
that's a good
exactly what
scope.
we were talking about?
Yep. 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 Yep.
That's perfect.
Yep. So each edge where it gets flattened is still somewhat round. So yeah, it's clipping and it's pretty harsh, the clipping. It's pretty good, the amount of clipping that's being used here. But it's not, yeah, right. It's a warm tube amp. Exactly, Ken. It's not this incredible, harshness like the fingernails on the chalkboard. It's not quite that bad. Talk about clipping from overdriving your finals. Yes, same thing, especially on single sideband. That's why we have ALC. ALC is the compressor built into the radio that is slowly attacking and slowly releasing so that it doesn't offer compression to your voice, but it does offer protection from the finals so that what is coming out of the single sideband transmitter is undistorted and is linear. Because once you clip it, if you've got a 100-watt amplifier for the finals and you have it try to produce 120 watts, it can't. So it clips off the top and the bottom of the waveform, and then you have distortion that you can't ever get rid of, and it creates spurs on the band, and you'll see those on a spectrum analyzer. It's a and yeah, I did it. I did it on a few 10-meter conversion radios. You cut this
Yeah.
wire and snip that diode, and boy, you're loud.
No, but nobody's scoping you out
Nobody
though,
can,
you
no,
know?
and nobody gave a damn. Right.
No.
That's right. Right. So I'm not condoning it, but it depends on where you do it. If you did this in broadcast, you're in big trouble. If you do it while you're making the record, it's not so big a trouble because maybe that's what the band wants to sound like. That's
We'll fix
okay.
it later, right?
No, they may not want to fix it at all. They may want that grunge. That's
No,
why
the band, yes,
that's
yeah.
why they sell fuzz boxes that you plug in between the Marshall amp and the guitar. Right.
Oh, I'm saying the studio or the broadcasting will they'll clean it up how they like it.
Well, okay.
They'll kind of change the.
We have
Oh, wait a
some
minute! It's a one-way street, right?
we have some really neat tools now
Now,
in digital signal processing that can guess what the waveform would look like if it wasn't clipped off. And it can do it in real time. And the software that I was using for Winamp is a Stereo Tool. And Stereo Tool, if you pay for one of the plugins, one of the licenses, it will allow you to do that. It will recreate, it will remove as best as it can that distortion that's being clipped from the original master recording. And then you can go ahead and compress it and process it. Right. That's right. That's right, Frank. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be music. It can be voice. Exactly. And I've done that. I've taken old recordings, of an AM broadcast that's precious that I can't get anywhere else. It's a one of a kind. But there's skywave fade, or there's you know, whatever. There's distortion. I recorded it on reel and the bias wasn't set properly on the tape. I used a different tape, or I over modulated the tape, or whatever. And you can run it through these softwares and it won't be perfect, but it'll be much better than if you didn't use it.
Ken was
Now,
saying that I
isn't that interesting? Look at that console on the right.
that is a nice looking picture too. See if I can.
So doesn't that look
that one, sorry.
eerily similar to the picture that I showed you?
That's why I clicked it. Yeah. I can't.
Wow.
Let's see the page here. Let's see if we've got any history here.
Mm-hmm.
Local695.com magazine. Production and sound video. The Way We Were. Mixers past.
I know that
present.
song.
Oh yeah. Oh, hit volume 5.
For
Portable,
those
volume 2.
playing at home, by the way, that was actually the last song that WRKO played before it went to talk format.
The way
we were. Yeah. Yep. And yes, I have that on an air check. That's how I know.
That's so cool. Ken was saying that I need to use the stick trick to listen to lifters, and I'm telling him that.
Right. Yes.
I actually just stick a pry bar on it and put my ear onto the end of the. I don't have a stick would be probably a little bit softer, but boy, do you get the real high notes with the pry bar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. Dell uses a long screwdriver. Okay, we're all on the same page.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Same idea. Yeah. The Western Electric 22C console, designed for broadcasts, with some modification of monitoring. It was also the basis of film recording mixers. Okay.
Yep.
So we have cross-platformed it.
Yep.
Oh wow.
Right.
Microphones. Master gain. Wish. Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, that's all we get. I spoke too soon. It's not as high resolution as I thought it was.
Yeah.
But we have a plate knob.
Okay.
That means there's tubes involved.
You got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh yeah, there were tubes in the one that I showed you. Yeah. So that is the first board that I used in college.
That's her?
BC6A. Yep. That's not the board, but it's the same model. Yep. And Ken, if you know the name Dave Maynard, he also touched the same board at the same school.
Is that the original RCA logo? It sure is.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I this off topic, but
yeah.
Do you know? Can you envision in your mind MFJ's original logo?
No, not off the top of my head. No.
In today,
I can see the one that they have now or had.
It's on this. It's on this new tuner, or I say new tuner. It's the wood grain tuner that I scored off of eBay.
Yeah.
And I just. I think their older logo was way cooler looking.
They usually are. Looking. Yeah, they usually are.
I don't know why they had to go mess that up.
Yeah.
This thing's a filing cabinet.
Yeah. In disguise, right?
Here we go.
So there's SWR in that
here it is.
Long screwdriver against the engine and against your ear. As the sound goes up the screwdriver, there's standing waves on the screwdriver. There's standing waves in the room that I'm talking right now.
There's standing waves in the wires going to the speakers that you're listening to.
Yeah. It's everywhere.
Here's that logo I was talking about.
Yeah.
I think that logo, they should have stayed with that. That's
I do too. And that's a great
cooler.
That is, I have the same it's not the same model, but it's the same design, also made by MFJ. Does the same thing. And it's a very effective, it's perfect for POTA. It's 100 watts and under. It is beautiful.
So not only this was an inductor tap and a T match, right? T match.
Yes, it's a T, correct.
And you also you got a Ballon with it,
Yes,
and so therefore you could have balanced line or you could have random long wire.
that's right. Yeah,
You don't get those features in today's tuners, and it makes me absolutely bonkers.
right, right.
And furthermore, I don't know that you can buy a manual tuner that's
Yeah, you
new.
can. Yeah, you can. You can get Palstar. Yeah.
Okay, so that's all we get, huh? Is Palstar.
Well, that's why I
It's
like the old
dying.
stuff.
It's dying.
You know, and here's something else you can get from a manual tuner. I'm running balanced line here, all the way from the tuner to the wire. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no coax anyway. All right. So, but be that as it may, I have a current meter balanced that is right on top of the tuner. So it shows me how much current is going out the line. And depending on the impedance of the antenna for that particular band, the current will be either higher or lower. I'm still putting 100 watts, the same 100 watts in, but it's a higher impedance antenna, so there's less current. And even without that meter, I can tell where the tuner is loading up. What are the settings on the tuner will also tell me the impedance of the antenna. It's not going to be accurate, but I can see that on this band, the antenna is a higher impedance than it is on band B, simply by where the knobs are. And you really can't. The auto tuner is great if you're a contest station and you need to change frequencies quickly, and you go boom, and you click the mouse, and everything just moves together in unison, and the dish at the tower moves with it, and it aims everything, and it, great, wonderful. But I think it's a disconnect. It's like driving the car with the automatic transmission. Now the car is driving you.
Oh, look, they remade a new version of it.
And that's the one that I have. It's
the exact
model.
same one that I just showed. It's just I have the older wood grain model.
That's right.
Yeah. So they did keep this all the way up to 1 point.
Yep.
Okay. Well, that's nice to know that they kept it.
You're right, Ken. It's exactly the standing waves in the sax or clarinet. All instruments have them. In fact, when I talked to ham jazz, Simon, who plays trumpet, I made that analogy a year or two ago when I started conversing with him, emailing back and forth, and got him to see that the parallel is identical to the antennas. It's the same. There's standing waves. You're changing the length of the horn when you change the valves. You're playing harmonics. There's all kinds of neat stuff. Hey, Frank, thank you. It was fun. We'll do it again. Tell them all I said hello. Yes, there are, Ken. There are a lot of them out there. And again, I think the older stuff is cool. It's rebuildable too. It's easy to repair.
That's my guy.
One of the best ones, if you find it, is the Ten-Tec. The big tuner from Ten-Tec. I have two of them. I have a whole bunch of other tuners. I have homemade ones. I have a couple of Johnson matchboxes that I've modified, but the Ten-Tec, yeah, it's on the top row. Yeah, the middle in the black with the two big knobs. That's the one. That's it.
Sign me. Oh, you know what? I saw this at a ham jam.
Yep.
And it was 300, and I thought it was a steal, and I was just like, I was dying. I was beside myself. I was like, I need this so bad.
Good. They're showing you the inside.
Oh.
This is an LC tuner. Okay. It is not it doesn't have three controls. It only has two, just the inductor and the capacitor. And so it's an L match, and you can change the placement of the capacitor. You can put it before the inductor, or you can put it after the inductor.
Well, that's fancy.
Yep.
Right. You can have one completely out of circuit, or you can just
Yes,
have that whole right. Yeah,
it has bypass. Right.
bypass.
So the Johnson Matchbox doesn't have bypass. So if I want to listen to broadcast radio, I have to take everything out of line and, change the wiring around. This one here, I just turn a knob, boom.
Ken is calling out Ape right now.
Yeah. More than I'd like to admit, because then the men in the white robes might come to take me away. Aha.
It's a
But
very
yeah,
cat.
it's cool. It's how and you know what? Tuners are like Harley Davidsons. You will never find two that are exactly alike. They all behave a little bit differently. Not so much model to model, but each model has pluses and minuses that the other models don't have. And that was part of the reason why I collected them. Because I learned from each one how are they doing what they're doing and what are the benefits. And once you figure those out, then you can, like I said, I modified one of my Johnsons. So I changed everything. I changed the input on it. I tried variable caps like the Anarchy, which is I think in the UK, which is tougher to get than hen's teeth. It's impossible to find. I did look. You put a variable capacitor on the primary coil. That is okay. But what I ended up doing was put fixed capacitors in a rotary switch, and some of them are in parallel with the primary, and some of them are in series with the primary. And it radically changed the efficiency. It increased the efficiency. I know because I have a current meter on the output.
My God.
And I also did field strength, and it vastly better.
They were not playing back in the day.
No. But this is standard fare. This is
Right.
just a coil and a cap. It's nothing to it. Yeah.
And whenever you find a tuner, guys, online, and you go to buy it, and then you go, wait a minute, somebody's put a switch on it. I don't think I want that anymore.
Right.
I think you do.
Yeah.
The R&D's been done for you. Like, no,
Yeah.
I say a switch, I'm saying like an aftermarket switch, like somebody's drilled a hole and put a switch in there, off to the side where it doesn't belong.
Most of the switches are okay if you're not running high power. If you're, maybe 200 watts or less, a regular switch, a 10 amp DC switch is fine.
For your standard 100 water.
Yeah, they're fine.
Good.
But if you kick the amp on, and you put 1,000 watts through it, then that thing is going to carbon track it. The switch it'll handle the amps, but it's not made for RF. So it'll start burning inside, and you won't even know it until it's too late.
Ken was poking at Ape with the "how many tuners do you have?" question.
Yeah, I know. It's okay. It's all good.
I'm glad you answered though. That's pretty good to know that I'm not the only tuner fan. But once I learned that I didn't have to mess around with static impedance transformers and
right,
I spent more time at the desk wrapping cores than I did touching my radio.
Yeah.
I don't need to do that.
Hey, have
I'm
we played with SimSmith?
You know what? You took the words right out of my mouth.
Can I do that for like 10 minutes?
You want to drive? Go ahead.
Yeah.
I was wondering when we were going to get into modeling feedline.
Ape is foaming at the mouth at this point.
You think?
Share screen. Okay, here we go.
Oh boy.
Share the entire screen.
Ape was the one that actually figured out for me why the hell my damn 75 ohm coax works so well.
Mm-hmm. There you go.
Because he modeled it in software.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I learned at specific links, it returns back to 50 ohms. Get you on full there. Hey.
All right. So
here we go.
This is SimSmith. So this is, for those that don't know, this is how we modeled antennas with Mana-Gal. This is how you model tuners and transmission line.
You can build the whole tuner right here, boys.
The whole kit and caboodle. So let's say that I have the G is the generator. That's my transmitter. So I'm at 7 megahertz. I'm on the 40 meter band. And I have an antenna that's 300 ohms. But my transmitter is 50 ohms, and I need to match those. So I need to make the impedance higher. So let's just stick an inductor in here. And then I add a capacitor, and I'm going to show you in a second.
I love that the Smith chart is just in your face.
Oh
doing it the whole time.
Yeah, because this also, having the Smith chart here, you will quickly lose your fear of a Smith chart. It starts to make sense just by playing with the, you can't hurt it. So, create stuff, try stuff, see what it does. All right. So here's the kicker. If I put, and you notice, I'm sorry, I'm moving really too fast. I need to slow down.
Not for me.
Okay, I know, because you've seen it all. But there are probably people watching this or that will watch it in future that haven't seen this. So here, the lavender or pink or whatever color you want to call this, C1 capacitor number 1, notice is this same colored line here. And the blue dot is where we are starting from. This is our antenna. This is the 300 ohm side. Remember, the bullseye is 50 ohms.
I love that you call it the bullseye.
Because it is.
It is.
It is. It's a bullseye.
The target.
You're playing darts. Yeah.
It's the damn target.
Yeah, that's a great way to look at it. Okay. If I go to the right, I go higher in impedance. If I go to the left from the bullseye, I go lower in impedance. Okay. So, I'm starting at the little blue dot. That's 300 ohms. And the purple color here is capacitor number 1. Also, this green line is the green inductor. And I can take my mouse and I can just click in that box, and it shows me what the value is of that inductor. It happens to be arbitrary. It picked it on its own. I didn't create this. I added the 2 components. But now that I've clicked on it, I can either do on the keyboard the arrows up or arrows down, or in my case, I'm going to use the mouse wheel. Okay? And my job is to change that value and get the big circle dot in the center of the bullseye. That's the goal, because that's where the 50 ohms is. That's okay. This big blue dot is is this end here where it's mating to the transmitter.
That was very nice of them to put the rolling mouse wheel.
Yeah. Well, I can see without changing anything, without changing values. I can look at the Smith chart. I assume you can see my arrow. Do you see my arrow doing circles around the Smith chart?
Yes.
Okay, great. So I want to be here, but I'm here. And I see these lines. See these lines? I just clicked that. But you see this curve? Hey, at some point, it almost intersects the purple. Well, what if I take this point and I shorten the purple so that now it's right at that junction? Let's do that. I know it's the purple, so I click on the purple, and I move the mouse wheel this. Oh, it's getting longer. Wrong direction. Go the other way. Okay. And we keep shortening it. I'm not even looking at the values. I'm looking at the Smith chart. Boom. I'm at that junction. Hey, let's change the value of the green one. Look what's going to happen as I get longer. Where's it going to end? Boom, in the center of the bullseye.
We need some inductance, Hollywood.
Yep. So I click on inductor, and I move the...
Oh, you can scale that.
Yeah, and I move the green line with the mouse.
Come on, give it a good spin there.
Yeah, spin the wheel.
All right.
Close enough. Look at my match.
So from 300 to 50 ohms, that required. I can't read it.
It's 171 puff picofarad
Totally obtainable.
and 2.52 microhenries.
Totally obtainable.
Right. At 7 megahertz. Right. Okay. So no math, no nothing. Just, make the lines intersect and you got it. That's one very simple way. All right. Now, the other takeaway is, remember, I'm starting with a low impedance at the transmitter and a high impedance at the antenna. Look at the way these two components are pointing. The junction here is pointing at the antenna. This is the high impedance side. This open area is the low impedance side. So let me draw you the same thing that you have in the MFJ.
A T-match.
Yes. Here's your T-match. That's the layout. Capacitor on the in, an inductor that's shunted to ground, and then a capacitor on the out. Okay. So let's draw the same thing. Let's just move the stuff around. Remember, we're starting at the dot, and I've got blue. And I can make it longer or shorter. That's all I can do. Well, if I make it longer, it gets worse. I'm going higher and higher and higher impedance. I'm going away from the center. So I want that to be as large as I can get it. And it's like 250 is what the unit comes with. When the vanes on the bread slicer are fully meshed on that output capacitor, it's 250 puff. So there it will stay. That leaves me only two other controls. Well, I got a purple and I got a green. Do you see this junction here where that curve intersects with the center? Well, let's make purple a little shorter, like that, and let's make green a whole lot longer. Bingo.
It's almost too easy when you do it.
It is. It is. It's fishing in a barrel. Absolutely.
Chris Bricker is thanking you personally.
You're welcome. You're welcome, Chris. This is the secret. Okay, if there ever is a secret about making antennas and tuners and understanding basic traveling wave theory, do this, because you can't break it. You play with it. You believe. You will just. It will go into your spirit, and it'll start making sense. There's no math. The worst is when the teacher says, "Well, you need all these equations up here, and you need to see this," and blah, blah, blah. No. You're going to get all turned off unless you really like math, and I don't. Okay, I can do the math, but this is the way to view it, and you'll learn the Smith chart. It's brilliant. Now look at again. Remember, we're going from a low impedance 50 ohms up to a 300 ohm higher impedance. Okay, it's these two items, this capacitor C2 and L1, that are doing all of the work. Just look at the Smith chart. The little blue is the output C1. It's doing basically nothing. So you can see, if I were to take my finger and cover up C1 or even remove C1.
I was about to say, you almost don't need it. You could shorten up your purple a little bit and maybe still land that. Shorten up the green, shorten up the purple.
Exactly.
There it is. Yeah,
shorten it up so it lines up. Boom.
Bam.
You're there. Now, why do they have that output capacitor?
Good question.
Okay. Well, so far, I've only shown you a resistance value, 300 ohms. It's not a complex resistance. There's no J. Remember, J is either inductive if it's positive or capacitive if it's negative. But I've got 0 ohms of J here. Well, let's change that. Let's make it 500 ohms capacitive. So I do that by writing a minus sign first. Okay, so it's minus 500 J, but 300 regular ohms. Okay. And you'll see the dot now is below the equator. It's on the 500 ohm curve here. And that's okay. We can still match it. All right. Let's shorten up the purple. Remember, see this curve that it's going to intersect with? Same thing. Bang. Okay. What happens if it was the other way around? Let's say it's not a 300 ohm antenna. How about it's a 30 ohm antenna?
Which is a typical quarter wave impedance, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's say, okay, let's get rid of the J. Let's make that 0. And in the real world, it's 36 ohms is a quarter wave. With
Okay, I was close.
full radials, it's 36 ohms.
Yeah.
Okay. So see where we are. We've got no J. Good. And we're to the left of center. So that's 50. And that line right there is 25 ohms, which is confirmed down here in the legend. Okay. So halfway between them, roughly, that's 30. Okay. 36. Okay. So we're going to match that. Well, we need to go down. So it's going to be C1 and L1 are going to do most of the work because we're going in the opposite direction now. We're going down in impedance. Before we were going up, it was C2 and L1. Now it's facing the other way. See where the point is? The junction between C1 and L1? They're pointing to the transmitter. They're pointing away from the antenna. So the transmitter is the higher impedance. They always point to the higher impedance. So the transmitter is 50. That's higher than 36. That's how I know it's those two. Okay, so let's make C2 as large as we can, which is going to be 250 puff. And then let's change the values of C1. And I may have to go around the horn here to get it to go, and that's okay.
Chris says, ugh, imaginary number math.
Now, to make it work, I had to make C2 1,000 times. And it's not 250, it's 1,000 now. It's too big. So I cheated. So let's put that back at 250. And then we will move the other components around it to satisfy that. So let's move this way. Oh, do you see how the green now is all going to overlap? Maybe. Let's move it out a little further. Look at what happens if I move that. If I make the blue longer, look at what happens to the green. It starts approaching center. Let's move L1. Okay. Anyway, you end up with a curve, and you start to see how they interact. And eventually, you get right on it. And I have a 1-to-1 match. In fact, this software shows me, it says, the way I have it set up is that this is not just 50 ohms. It's 50 ohms, and it's doing 1,000 watts out of the transmitter. That's how I have this configured. So in the antenna, I have 978 watts at the antenna. That's the output of the tuner. The tuner is right at the antenna. And it shows me how many watts are being consumed by each of the 3 components.
Not even worth talking about.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks at the manual tuner and they think it's an RF sync.
And it shows me the voltage and the amperage on each of the 3 components.
And that's how you can get your component rating, folks.
Yep. And, oh, but wait, there's more.
There's always more.
If I click down here,
you can hide that thing. Bottom if
It
need.
shows me, it gets rid of the Smith chart and it shows me the curve. So at 7 megs, I have a good match. Here's my wattage. That's 1,000 watts at that peak. Okay. But look at what I see. If my transmitter is dirty and I have harmonic energy in the 10-meter band, this tuner is not going to attenuate it. It's going to pass right through.
That's right. Pretty
However,
efficiently, I might add.
because this is what's called a high pass. It's a T. It looks like a T. If you look at the 3 components, it looks like the letter T. But the capacitor on the in and the capacitor on the out, remember, capacitors pass high frequencies. They hate low frequencies. DC will never go through a capacitor. But high frequencies, the higher the frequency, the easier it is to go through a capacitor. So this design is called a high pass T network. Okay? Let's take the same 3 things and let's change the orientation. Let's make this one horizontal and let's make this one vertical and let's make that one vertical. This is now called a pi network because it looks like the letter pi. And this is a low pass network because remember, capacitors pass high frequencies. Well, goes through the capacitor, boom, right to ground. Low frequencies go through the inductor, including DC, but high frequencies, they don't like them. So there's some attenuation here, and whatever leaks through goes through that capacitor, boom, right to ground. So it's a low pass. I'm exaggerating it to prove the point, okay? But it's a low pass, and I think we can all see that. So now let's do the same with the component values. Let's go back here. Let's change a few things around. So notice I need less capacitance on the output because it's pushing it the wrong way. And let's change this. And we'll change this one. And I now have a 1-to-1 match again. But if I look at the curve, look at the attenuation I have at 10 meters. It's fantastic. It gives me everything I want at 40. And as I go up in frequency, it gets more and more and more attenuated. These are, if I had a dirty transmitter with harmonics, this tuner will help a lot. And this is why on a tube linear amplifier, this is the load and the plate setting. It is always a pi network. And it is for that reason. It is to attenuate harmonics. And I'm done. There's a lot of material there. I get it. So I did the speed course, but maybe inspired a few people to play with the software.
I had no idea about the mouse wheel.
Yeah.
It's
a blast.
I'm sitting in there like hands sweating, punching in on the number keypad.
Yeah. Hey, let's say the output of this tuner, I have a piece of coax. Look, see this guy here? This is coax. It's actually, I should say it's transmission line. It looks like coax. Well, if I
It's
click on
75 ohm coax too.
I click on simplified, I can change. You've seen this, Ziggy, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is how I got my name.
Aha. Okay. I didn't know that. Well, I know from that, but I didn't know that you
There's
had
some ideal lossless
played
75
with
ohm right there.
Yeah.
Let's give it a length of 120 feet.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So
What
yeah,
about-
you can type the number in. Right, exactly. It's doing all kinds of crazy stuff because
It
now
is.
this coax,
It's part of the network.
you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can use balanced line here.
Yeah, let's get away from 75 ohm. Let's not dirty up the water.
I can put a balun in here. Where my balance? Here it is. I can go like that. and I can change the ratio of the primary to the secondary. I can really make it simple. N is the turns ratio. So if I do a 2, N, it's the square of the N. So this is really now a 4-to-1. And for those at home, you see that black circle going around and around and around? It's going around because I have such a long lane. I got 167 feet of transmission line here. That black is that same black. If I
Go ahead.
shorten it,
Yeah.
right? You see it's going around twice, going around once, and halfway around is a full wavelength. Is that right? Yes. No. How about quarter wave?
Let's see.
It's a quarter wave. I got it. It's a quarter. Because we're at 70.
600 ohm transmission line?
66 would be a half.
Yeah.
66 would be a half. So
That is
66
the-
is so a half wave is one complete revolution on the Smith chart.
Yeah. And that's the magic length for 75 ohm coax, by the way, boys.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I eliminate all of this, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Where I start is where I end up on the purple. That's the line. That's the coax or the transmission line. It doesn't matter. It could be coax. Doesn't matter. This 75 ohm line.
66 feet. We're at 46 feet for some reason.
Well, that's because there's velocity factor.
There is, but you have this double component in here as well in green.
Mr. Bowen.
There
Yep.
it is. There we go.
But it's
Now we're
still,
close.
but
There
notice,
we go.
if I go all the way around, there's one complete rev. It's not 66 feet. It's
not.
46 feet because of the velocity factor.
It's taking into the account, yeah. And you've
It's
got 0.6.
66 times 66%.
Right. So here's the thing that I've noticed. Most of the coax, the 75 ohm coax that I get, 66 is far too low.
I agree.
It's like usually like in the upper 90s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like 92, I think, is pretty standard. 90,
Yep.
I forget. But I just go to the part number on the cable and then I look up the manufacturer paper and I go, oh,
Right.
that's your beam. Okay. And then
Right.
I plug that in and then I go, oh, here's my length. And then I snip it and I'm like, oh, well, look at that. Put a 50 ohm load on one end of it and boom, there. Bob's your
Right.
uncle.
And I think, yeah. So if you pick this here, CCS coax, then you can change, you can change the parameters. So I've simply clicked on the velocity factor. So instead of 0.66, let's make it, I don't know, 95, whatever.
Yeah.
Arbitrary, right?
Yeah.
And hit enter. And now there you go. So now if I change the length and I go to 66, there's
Pretty much.
66. That's
Yeah.
a full complete revolution, which is a half wave. On a Smith chart, all the way around is a half wave because half waves repeat. Whatever is at one end is at the other end. And if it's a quarter wave, 33 feet, now it's halfway around. It inverts the impedance.
Chris Bricker is asking about what are these bottom blocks? Chris, those are your Legos.
These here on the bottom?
Yeah, just all of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are all your toys to play with.
Yeah, they are for the advanced class of which I'm not. There is a guy who does a wonderful demonstration and he will answer your questions. If you Google him on YouTube, I don't remember what let me stop sharing. Get rid of that.
Oh, don't be embarrassed about your desktop, Hollywood. All of our desktops look like that.
Did you see the nasty pictures?
No,
Nice.
I saw the icons.
Oh,
I don't know. I don't know
yeah.
which is more risque. But,
no, there's nothing to hide. It's okay.
Chris Bricker says he's not sleeping tonight. Thanks, Hollywood. He's
Me
gonna be
neither.
playing with
It's all
software
good.
night.
Well, this is the Monday night marathon.
Dell says, I get it now. The tuner can make 75 ohm coax look like 50 ohm to your transmitter. Yes, but let's back up. That's not what I was talking about. You can length tune your 75 ohm TV coax transmission line and it will just harmonically fall to 50 ohms on the bands of interest.
Okay,
And the
I
easiest,
got the
yeah,
guy.
you got
I
the
got
guy. The
it.
easiest
It
way
is
to do this is you just put a 50 ohm dummy load at the end of your coax, and as long as you know like the magic links, which are 66 and 120, you can have a 4-band or an 8-band transmission line that your radio will think is a true 50 ohm transmission line. There you
this
go.
is the guy. This
Whiskey
is
off, Whiskey 0 Quebec Echo.
this is the professor, and he knows Sim Smith like the back of his hand. And every single one of these videos is gold. I mean, he's got stuff in here that wait. Oh, look at Ballon heating. Hello, how do you model that? Well, he does it. Okay.
You
Yeah.
gotta really be
Oh,
sharp
yeah.
to do
Yeah.
that.
Ape just fell out of his chair. Okay. If you haven't seen this guy, put him in the bookmark, and you'll be binge watching from here until the cows come home because it's just fantastic stuff.
Del Fargo says that don't worry, Hollywood, his desktop is even worse. Ken's asking if Ape is still out there. Let's see, what time is it?
Yeah.
He might have to go in the office tomorrow. He's
Yeah.
probably moved on.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Look at all those. He's got 100 videos, and I bet you they're all
Yeah.
about Sim Smith.
Yeah. 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 And then this is another one. If you haven't seen worldradiohistory.com, that's another keeper, because in here are all of the manuals and all of the catalogs and periodicals, magazines for not just ham radio, but broadcast stuff, audio stuff, television stuff. So I went down a deep dive, and I'm looking at, ham radio today. And I started this morning on, the first edition. And the first edition, that would be Kenny Rogers, by the way. And then, I'm down here in October. But I mean, the articles in here, the way that this stuff is written is vastly superior to what you get today. So, and they're all free for the taking. If they're really good, I will clip and paste the article and save it as a PDF file. And I do frequently, a lot of this stuff, like these are the ones that here's one here. It's 10, 15, and 20 quads. I just did this afternoon before we got online. So this is a direct article out of one of the recent magazines, and I cut it and I paste it. And there it is. And I have it in my NAS forever, because you don't know if that site's going to go belly up or whatever,
All right. Let's see.
Yep. Neat stuff.
This is okay, well, I guess I kind of knew about the mouse wheel here. I'm playing with my own Sim Smith, but anyway.
It's good. It's
Yeah.
good. Yeah.
Hollywood, I really appreciate it, man.
Oh, it was a blast. It was a blast. I'm out of steam now, finally. It totally took 3 hours, or whatever it's been.
Del says thank you.
You're welcome.
A lot. Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome, Del. Anytime. Yeah, happy to do it. It's all fun. It's all fun and games until someone loses an eye.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can't go middle screen splaining and show everybody what got me kicked off real fast as I can.
3.5 hours.
Oh, that's rookie numbers for us, Hollywood.
Wow.
Let's see. Okay, here we go. So I have 75 ohms. I got a 50 ohm. Z would be my load. Or my this is my antenna. This is my transmitter.
Right.
I'm transmitting at 14.1 meg, which is fine. Simplified. I'm not sure that I can respect that. I guess I kind of needed that. Control Z. That's going to come with, oh, that comes with feet. Got it.
Yeah.
So, where's the bands of interest? I'm at 120. And then I can just simply, now there's something here.
By the way, what you just did, you changed. This is really cool, folks. What he just did was changed the length of the coax to get a match.
This is how I did it.
Okay. Now, here's the kicker.
There we go.
An
That's
antenna tuner,
I don't go from 7.
an antenna matcher. All right. We'll use the real term. It's an antenna matcher. all
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
In the olden days, in the 40s, a tuner was not called a matcher or a matchbox or an ATU. It was called a line stretcher.
Yeah.
How ironic. Because that's exactly what it does. It makes
Electrically changes the
it
length of
changes the length of the line. Yes.
Let's see. So I can click here and show that over 135 feet of my 75 ohm coax, if
Mhm.
I'm going to dial up 10 meters here, a little low, that's okay. 10's a big band to model here, but yeah, your transmission line's not going to know any difference, guys.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and this is how I found out how to do this. And then so here's the half, right? So maybe not everybody has a full fundamental 80, 60, and then that's going to get us the mains. Let's see, and if I adjust that, my numbers are slightly off today. I don't know particularly why, but I know if I do that, everything falls together. Look at
Right.
that.
Right.
Yeah. 10,
Now,
15,
there's
20, and 40.
there is
All
still
at 50 ohms.
there is still Viswar on the line.
A little bit.
And you'll never get rid of that, and that's okay. And that's that green circle that we're looking at on the Smith chart.
Doop.
Okay. That the width of the circle, the diameter, I should say, the diameter of the circle is the mismatch within the line. If this was 50 ohm coax, that green line would not be there.
Of course not.
Okay. If it was a 100 ohm transmission line, it would be a larger circle than what we see here. If it was a 400 ohm line, it would be bigger still.
But the great thing is that we're not operating out here. That's all the in-betweens. These are the band harmonics that we're going to be transmitting on. Right? 10, 15, 20, and 40.
Yeah.
This is the four-bander.
Yeah,
At
because
66, 67 feet.
because each one of these humps, as we're looking at it now, is halfway around or a full way around the Smith chart.
Right.
So
we
what
don't care 'cause
happens
we're not
with the-
going to be transmitting. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So at each of those bands, the Viswar is low, and that's good.
And this is still matchable, guys. Like, don't freak out.
Of course, it's matchable. Of course, it's matchable. All I'm
Yeah.
saying is that within the line, there is a repeating VSWR,
There is. You're right.
and there will always be.
And this happens with 50 ohm coax as well.
No, if the load matches the impedance of the line, then there is no Viswar.
I've taken long runs of 50 ohm coax and put a 50 ohm load on it, and I've analyzed it, and you can see the humps.
Then it's not 50.
It
might be 50. Might be 52.
Right. Yeah. It's nothing's perfect is what I'm getting at.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And so when I finally became a real ham and realized that a 2-to-1 SWR is not really a whole lot to talk about, to be honest with you, because I can
Correct.
I can fix that. It's fine.
I'm
I can
I'm
mitigate.
looking at a Kenwood TS830 here that's feeding the audio into my headset. That's all it's good for right now. That's all it does.
That's all it
And
does.
and it has a Pi network on the output, and it will tune, I don't know, 3-to-1, 4-to-1.
Not care.
Doesn't care. But it's an older transmitter, and it's tubes. And if I did it with a solid state transmitter, if I had a flex, it's not going to be happy. It's going to fold back on its power because it doesn't want to see, maybe anything over a 2-to-1. But once you match it, whether you change the length of the line or you use a matchbox or however you do it, it doesn't matter on the other end. There is a change,
Here we
but
go.
the change is so small, the other guy isn't going to hear it.
Mm-mm.
There's going to be more influence from the ionosphere. A plane going overhead. I mean, there really isn't. If you cut your power in half, if you're doing 100 watts and you cut it in half, that's 3 dB. It takes 6 dB to go 1 S unit.
So here we are. I found where the software is happy, and I'm not quite sure what's changed and what I don't have and do have dialed in this time. But
Right.
we're landing at 133 feet, and if you look at all the bands, it's real high Q. Don't get me wrong. That's a sharp vampire right there, but that's a vampire tooth for sure. But I mean, if you're an FT8 guy, I mean, this might be the ticket for you.
Yep.
Because you're going to
Absolutely.
harmonically fall within those FT8 low band areas, right about there. Yep. So about 135. And then, of course, velocity factor, I've got, oh, you know what? That's what it is. I've got this velocity factor set to something unreal, like 97.
Right.
So,
Right.
anyhow.
If you look at the manual for the Johnson Matchbox, it specifically says, if you cannot obtain a match with this matchbox, it is not the fault of the matchbox.
Right.
Change the length of the line. Make it a little shorter or a little longer.
What a great honor Ken just said. He says, now I'm split in between Nuggets and Hollywood here. What an honor. We're
Awesome.
rivaling the Nuggets show.
Thank
That's
you, Ken.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Chris just recently found out that he can make his own equations.
Yeah.
Chris, you're going to run away with the software, buddy. Do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Oh, he found out it's in Java. Sorry, buddy.
Uh-huh.
That's what chat's for.
Yeah.
Well, we've crested the 1 hour mark, Hollywood.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I feel
boy.
like I swallowed a razor blade. I'm done.
I sure hope you've had a glass of water on your desk at least.
I have. I've been sipping.
Good,
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
good. I feel guilty. Thank you for spending
No,
time with me.
don't. No, this was a blast, and we'll do it again.
We will.
And maybe we'll answer some of those questions we didn't even touch on.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll share some audio.
Yeah, we need to dial in the audio sharing for next time, so we can let some people hear some real AM.
Mm-hmm.
As the good Lord intended.
Mm-hmm. It's all good. Stay tuned.
There's more. Adios, everybody.
See you later. Bye.